Hey, we're here. Finally got the show going. Welcome to Just the Facts, our debut show. Uh, this is a place where we can talk about everything and anything but politics. This is your escape from politics here on the Just the Facts. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and click the notification button. So when we do go live, you'll know the times. And also, there's also a little bell on there that'll notify you when the current show is going to be on. So make sure you hit the notification and the little bell. One of the reasons I started this show is because being in isolation, need a good way to escape, and this is one way to do it. I've been in isolation a little bit longer than other people. We've been in isolation about a year now due to medical reasons, and so the isolation isn't really new to us, but still confining. Still want to escape and get out of the house somehow, and you miss your friends. So you get online, you're able to chat with them and visit with them, and it's almost as good as being there, but still not as good. But you take what you can get. My first guest tonight is the band Aska. They've been around Dallas-Fort Worth for at least 30 years that I'm aware of. They've played the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They've also played all around the world, 6 or 7 world tours, I believe. They'll clarify that here in a minute. I know they've been to 30-plus countries in places you couldn't even imagine. Some of the conditions they've had to play in war zones. So, and also, I used to be a crew member of Aska back in the 90s and early 2000s. Brought my Aska staff shirt. Still fits after 25 years, which is amazing. But let me bring the guys on. We got George Call.
Hey.
We got Keith Knight.
Hello.
And Danny White. Danny has a little bit of lag, I believe, on his end, so he may be a little slow to answer our questions here.
And he's lagging like a mad dog.
Hey, tell me, for a lot of people that don't know the history of Aska, tell me where you guys originated from and how it all came to be.
Well, I guess I can start on that. Aska started
with mom and dad having sex.
It started in somebody's room, but the band actually got together. My brother and an old high school friend of ours, actually an elementary school of ours, formed the band. We were in bands together, in our high school years, and we grew up and started all of this in the former U.S. territory of the Canal Zone, which no longer exists. It's in the country of Panama, and that's where it all started for us. Of course, our high school bands went as far as they could go in that setting. So we decided the next step was to take it to the U.S. and instead of being big fish in the little pond like we were there, we wanted to be join the big pond and see what we could do. And so we came up here, promptly set about putting together a band and shows and all that fun stuff. And through that we ended up we brought Keith into the band, and within short order, I believe in 91 we recorded our first album, and we've been doing thus ever since.
Okay, now, when you did your first album, was that independent label, or how did you do that?
Yeah, we recorded it ourselves. We decided to, we were like, we would have loved to have a label, and we actually recorded a demo and kind of shopped it out there. But we weren't ones to sit around and wait. We wanted to, get the show on the road. We had songs, we were writing material, we were doing gigs. So immediately we got into the studio and set about recording. I mean, the minute we got Keith, we were like, oh man, we're set. This is the guy. He's cool. He looks a certain way. He fits the part. We soon found out that Keith and I shared the same birthday, February 28th. And so we took it from there. When Keith joined the band, we thought that he looked kind of like Mantis from Venom. And we were like, whoa, that's cool, because we were big Venom fans. We actually enjoyed Venom and thought Mantis was cool. And Keith was a dead ringer for Mantis. So, we were kind of stoked on that whole situation. When we got in the studio right away, we went to Patrick McGuire Recording in Arlington and cut our first album. What we lacked in experience, we certainly made up for in enthusiasm and drive. And, the story went from there in short order. And we released the album, and next thing you know, we were being scouted for overseas touring for the military. But that's another question, I believe, and I'll let you get to that before we get into that. If Keith had anything, I suppose it's a good time.
I think you pretty much hit it on the head, except for the year. The year was 92.
92.
Yeah. No, actually, you're right. 90 is when I joined. 92 is when we started touring.
I'll go ahead and ask that question. You guys have performed in over 30 countries. You hooked up with the Department of Defense. How did that happen?
Well, we had, we've been playing, and when we started the band, our image was.
I'm hearing a lot of chatter.
Yeah, can you hear me okay now?
I'm hearing background noise.
Yeah, it's not here. You hear it? Are we okay? You can hear me okay, Dan? Yeah.
I'm trying
Everybody
to
can hear me?
Okay, that was coming from Danny, I believe.
God, Danny? God, Danny. So anyway, here's what back in the day when we first started the band, the group used to wear camouflage gear with dog tags, and our stage set featured American flags on stage, dragon launchers, camo netting, a real pro-military, pro-USA look to the whole band. We were flying this, Stars and Stripes way back before it was cool, or now uncool, as the case may be. But that was our shtick. It was our image. It was our thing. It was our look. It was how we differentiated ourselves from everybody else. We had this real pro-US, pro-military, manly type stuff image. And that came to the attention of the U.S. military somehow. When we had submitted packages and promo kits and press kits, they saw that and they go, wow, look at this. This is it's almost as if a band that we formed ourselves.
Tailor-made.
Yeah, tailor-made for touring the U.S. military circuit, the USO DOD circuit. So we did a show one night at the Basement, which is infamous. Pantera shot a big video there in their early career. And we were, regularly playing this venue in Dallas, headlining it on weekends and whatnot. And one night, after a particularly rowdy and rambunctious show, our roadies come up to us and go, hey, there's a guy here who wants to talk to you guys. And we're like, yeah, okay, we'll be there in a minute. We'll be there in a minute. Everybody wanted to talk to us after the shows, this was probably around 91. And, everybody always would stick around, want to talk to us, want to offer this, offer that, make promises that their bodies couldn't necessarily keep. And so we kind of put the guy off for a minute while we did our, rubbing elbows and shaking hands.
Kissing babies.
Yeah, kissing babies, politicking, all the fun stuff. And next thing you know, while we were doing our thing, we noticed this guy, he kind of gets fed up. He didn't look like your usual, Dallas club goer, Whose was that? Who's getting the messages? But so the guy goes, he tells one of our roadies, he goes, okay, that's it. I'm out of here. these guys, when these guys decide they want to talk, here's my card. And he starts to leave. And I found that highly unusual because people typically would wait for us till we were ready to talk to them. They wanted to meet the band, hang out with the band, whatever. In this case, this guy was leaving. So we're like, oh, wait a minute. That doesn't happen. This guy must be legit. I mean, that's what tipped us off that he was legitimate. So we go, hey, wait a minute. Come here. We got, let's meet. Let's talk. And we went backstage and we talked to the guy and he goes, hey, listen, I saw the show. I thought you guys were great. And I really would love to talk to you about potentially having you guys go out, overseas and do some touring for the military. And we were like, really? Wow. Okay. That sounds really interesting. That sounds like quite. Now keep in mind, this was the time when all of the, what do you call it, was going on? The war, the Bosnian War, no, the Saudi War. This was before Bosnia. This was when the Gulf War, it was just in effect or just dying down or, but still in the heat of things. And we're like, well, it sounds a little dangerous, but, what an opportunity for a newbie band like us that only had one record out barely. And, immediately we got noticed. So we met the guy at a hotel in, was it Irving, Keith? I think we met him in Irving, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Home of the Cowboys at a hotel where the guy was staying. And
yeah, I can't remember the name of the hotel though.
Yeah, but the guy was Drury, and he was a captain with the U.S. Marine Corps, and he was a talent scout. Basically, that was his job with the Marine Corps, and he basically headhunted us. We met him at the hotel. He made us an offer. We talked about it. We kind of had a gentleman's agreement handshake, and then he sent us some contracts. What was it, a week later or so? I mean, we got some contract, or was it that night? I don't remember.
No, it was following Monday or whatever it was, something like that. Tuesday.
Yeah, they didn't mess around, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And before you know it, we had a hard and fast date to get our fannies perpendicular and head on out to the Middle Eastern Saudi Arabian war zone to go help boost the morale and uplift the spirits of the U.S. men and women stationed, in these hot spots. And of course, we were immediately like, let's do it. We couldn't wait,
So where did you go on your first tour?
The first tour was primarily
Saudi Arabia,
Bahrain, places like that. It's the Middle East. Of course, we had some stops in, there. Our first stop was like in, pretty sure in the Azores, where some dude went nuts because he needed to take a smoke break. Of course, on the air, we had massive pillow fights and blanket fights. All these things that would get you arrested post 9/11, we were engaging in the sky, on our first tour. I mean, just going nuts. It was like, keep in mind, we were in our early 20s, all of us, I believe I was probably, 22 years old, started touring. So we were out of control, and what a great time, and of course, I think 24 hours later or something, we were in the air and an indefinite.
48 hours later.
Yeah,
that was a 2-day flight.
Yeah, a lot of layovers and stopovers in France and the Azores and whatnot. And we finally got to Saudi Arabia, and we actually got the Bahrain first.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about culture shock.
Yeah, you're very
none of
glitchy,
us
George.
had ever been in a Muslim country before, and okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. You just probably need to be closer to your router or something.
My router. Okay, let's find the router. Let us find router. Hold on.
So anyhow, after a 48-hour trip on the plane, which is long, everybody's feeling pretty nasty with that recycled air, but like George was saying, we started some pillow fights and got the whole plane into it. I mean, it was crazy. It was kind of very debaucherous, if that's a word.
Yeah, it was out of control.
Yeah, it was definitely out of control, and man, but it was fun. It was definitely a once in a lifetime kind of trip. That particular trip was just. I'm glad we didn't continue to do the 48-hour trips, though. It was a bit of a beating, eating plane food for 2 days.
Now, one thing I noticed about you guys when I first met you, how you guys were really trying to sell your product. I mean, that's how I met you. The story about how I met you guys was March 11th, 1995. I go to see a band that was supposed to have been at the Rage, but obviously I had the wrong night. And the band I wanted to watch was at Dallas City Limits. So I already paid the cover and had a drink going. So I told Robin, I said, I'm not leaving. I'm staying here. And that was the night Mystic Trip was playing at the Rage. Daryl Morgan, Rodney Williams.
Yeah.
And in between sets, they were playing your Immortal CD over the sound system. And I heard one song and I go, are they saying you suck? You know, like, so as I was trying to figure out what they were saying, Darren comes walking up. Hey, you like that song? And I go, yeah. Here, buy a CD. And that's how I was introduced to Aska. Darren selling me a CD. And the rest is history after that.
Were we not playing that night?
No, you were promoting that night. You were.
Oh, okay.
George wasn't there that night. George wasn't there. Rest of the band was there promoting the following week show. Y'all were there the next week.
Gotcha.
So that was it was the following week that I saw you guys live. And I was hooked after that.
Cool. You know, we didn't mess around, man, when it came to promotion and getting out there and pushing our product. Are you hearing me, or am I glitching out again?
Yeah, I hear you. Your video's glitching a little bit, but at least your vocals are solid.
Okay, that's good. That's hard. But yeah, we had no problem getting out there and hustling our stuff. This was the music we were making. We were on the line for it. We had, we had parents and whatnot. So we definitely wanted to get them their money back and get that music out into people's hands and, go from there. I mean, we were serious. I mean, we really wanted to push what we were doing, with people. And I guess at that point it was 94. It was our second album.
You're getting glitchy again.
You suck. So that was our second album, which we, after a lawyer, grabbed us. As long as you can hear me, I guess we'll be all right. I don't know what to do
your
other than
voice
to
is
leave
getting glitchy.
and then come back. Shit.
Somewhere tried
here.
Step outside.
I'll direct this question to Keith. Okay,
Right.
when y'all are overseas playing, a lot of times y'all were actually playing in war zones. What was the scariest situation you guys ever had to perform in?
I think the one mostly it was just shortly after the Bosnian War, and we were setting up in this outdoor stage, and you could hear like Uzis or something going off in the, not too terribly far, and there was another night where it was I believe it was same tour. They actually put us in with some colonels, a bunch of like high-ranking officers, just in one room, and we're all on cots. And the lights come on in the middle of the night saying, bird under the wire, bird under the wire. And you're like going, what does that mean? And basically it means somebody has snuck in, and turns out it was just a kid looking for food kind of thing. But
didn't y'all perform one time where having to wear flak jackets?
I don't recall wearing them to perform. We wore them to travel once we got in country. The first time when we landed in Bosnia, they made us wear flak jackets and helmets.
Yeah. to
I can't
travel.
hear you, George. Yeah, we had
You're frozen.
Kevlar. Can you
they
hear
put
me?
us on a bus, and with all the
Kevlar.
in and out.
Am I?
They put us on a bus with these flak jackets and these helmets, and we had cars in front of us and cars behind us that were escorting us through the country, right? And like we're just driving down the street with our local bus driver, and our guides disappeared. So next thing you know, we're on our own with this bus driver who's just a local. We're like, what happened to our escort? Next thing you know, we're at the base that we need to be at. I don't know if he just took a shortcut or what happened, but it was just kind of eerie. Or like, is this guy taking us somewhere we shouldn't be going? But
Okay,
it was good.
What was one of the nicest places y'all's ever performed that you would love to go back to?
Performed or stayed at?
Let's say performed, because that's what your end destination was.
I
know y'all
anywhere,
went to,
anywhere or
anywhere. I know y'all went to the South Pacific area, and
on the tours or post those tours, like on
those tours.
On the tours. I'm not recalling one performance over the other. They were all very similar. George might be able to recall something if he could ever come back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm totally frozen out. You hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, no, some of the really cool places were Hawaii, Iceland. I loved Iceland. Reykjavik.
Yeah.
Keflavik.
Iceland was pretty cool. But he's talking about playing though, not just being there.
Iceland was great.
Well, I guess I could rephrase that
for
question.
sure.
Any place.
Anywhere in Japan. Japan was great.
Yeah, Singapore was pretty cool.
Yeah, my son got to visit some of those countries when he was in the military. Of course, this was after you guys stopped touring over there, but
right. A lot of the venues seemed kind of the same when you went from place to place. It was all about where, before and after, the experiences at different countries that you got to be in, travel through, see. That was a lot of it. I'd also say the Panama section of the tour was pretty cool. That whole Caribbean was really nice.
Panama was great, indeed.
Oh, that's right. They treated you
I
guys
need to
first
log
class.
out and come back.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, go ahead and try that, George.
Maybe turn off your Wi-Fi and try it outside with just your SIM card.
Yeah.
Danny's been awfully quiet. What, you got any questions for Danny, or are you just going in chronological order?
Well, I'll ask a question. He'll answer it in about a minute.
10 seconds later.
Well, Danny, when did you join the band, and what was your history before Aska? Oh, wait a second. I forgot. I got him muted there. Let me unmute you. There you go, Danny. Okay, time delay there.
Okay. Well, I joined in. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So I joined in 2002, and I'd been in some other bands before, but a friend of mine, I was just doing some studio work, and a friend of mine told me that he gave my number out to a band and me be expecting a call. And a couple of days later, I got a call from George. And George asked me if I'd be interested in coming out and checking it out. And he sent me a disc. And I really liked the music. And I went out and played with them. And we gelled. And I joined the band. It was, I guess it was meant to be. But it sure has been fun. A
year of auditions. That's what it took us. we did a year full of auditions with, using, having drummers audition live with us to see how they, did, a night live with us.
Well, we got Sean in the chat room asking if you guys ever been to Guam. I know I have.
Several times, yeah.
I haven't been there since 1976. And what I've seen for Guam looks like it's a totally different island than what it was when I was there.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
built
we
up.
love Guam.
Yeah, it's a destination of the South Pacific, that's for sure, for like tourists now.
I tell you what, I was there for 16 months. I was glad to leave finally, but even though it's such a beautiful place, beautiful snorkeling, diving, a lot of things to do, but it's such a small island. And after that length of time, you're ready to come home. But
Right.
I would love to go visit Guam again. I know my son's been there once.
We've been there 4 times, I think.
Wow.
In and out, yeah. It's one of those places that you cross through sometimes.
Did you ever eat one of those coconut crabs? Did you ever go out in the villages?
No, not there.
Yeah, the coconut crabs. Yeah, those things are huge. They can take your fingers off.
Yeah,
I never.
been there 3 or 4 times. We loved Guam, man.
Yeah, Guam is cool. And George, your signal's not any better.
No.
Video looks a little better, but the audio is still freezing up. Well, it worked so well last night. We tried it out.
Yeah, he was at my house.
We never had coconut crab. We did have some.
We had tuna, and what else did we have?
That's the first time we had that meat with. We had that meat with.
Wow, you're cutting out big time, George.
George, you need to try to turn off your Wi-Fi and go outside or something. And he's gone.
Well, when you guys were back here in the States,
Yeah,
of course,
completely locked up.
Dallas Fort Worth is definitely your base. I remember when you guys were playing sometimes 2 gigs, 3 gigs a weekend.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
I remember there was a story because I know you guys opened up for Quiet Riot a couple of times. And
Oh boy.
You know what I mean? It was at the Rage, I believe.
Yeah.
Open up at the Rage. Tell me the story. What happened after you guys performed?
Well, we opened up for Quiet Riot. I think this was our second time we opened up for him, maybe third. I can't remember. It's either 3 or 4 times. I can't quite recall. But we played our set and full house, packed house. And as soon as we were done, we somehow accidentally booked a show on the same night and didn't realize it. We figured, well, okay, it's a headline set at Smokin' Dave's, and we had a opening set at the Rage. So we're like, all right, we got to race over and go to do our second set, basically. And we did. We raced over there, and the crowd followed us. So by the time Quiet Riot got on stage, they had like 6 people, maybe a little more than that, because a few people stayed a little longer, but they left after 2 or 3 songs and came to Smokin' Dave's to watch us.
Nothing you guys are known for as since you're based in Arlington and you guys knew the Abbott brothers.
Yeah.
And after Pantera basically broke up in between Damage Plan, you guys got to perform with Dimebag Darrell quite a few times.
Oh yeah, that was cool. He joined us on stage at Jay Gilligan's and what was the name of that place on Cooper?
Monte Carlos.
Monte Carlos. Those are pretty cool times, I must say. And got to know Dime pretty well, hanging out with him, and we played Vinny's surprise birthday party.
We played Vinny Paul's birthday party.
Yeah, and what else did we do? Oh, we jammed in their studio. That's what was pretty cool. And next thing you know, they turned on the drum, the triggers for Vinny's drums, man, and the drums just came alive. And you're like, whoa, that sounds like Vinny playing behind you.
Was that was that the Chase and Jason studios?
Yeah, over there at Dime's place.
Yeah,
because we started in the garage, and I don't know. I guess the toy drum set that we were playing on just wasn't working right or something. And Dime's like, come on, brothers, let's go to my place. And we all followed over there. Next thing you know, and everybody's trading off different things. First we jammed for probably half hour, 45 minutes. And then people are hopping on different instruments and jamming this and that. And it was always fun to, jam with Dime. He was cool.
We got someone in the chat asking, did you guys ever play at forts and bases on stateside? Just overseas, or did you do it here?
Just once that I can really recall. We played actually, but it was for some German friends of ours that we made friends with, some German guys, and they were over here training at I can't remember the name of the base. It's an Air Force base out there in West Texas.
We went out near Lubbock. That one.
Yeah. If you say the name of it, I'll know it.
I can't remember. I know there's an air base out there near Lubbock.
Yeah, so we went out there and played there. They had what is it? No, wouldn't be Fort either. Andrew? No, not Andrews. No, Fort Hood's a Army base. This was Air Force. Anyhow, we went out there and played a graduation party, and that was about the only stateside stuff we've done.
I remember hearing a story from Darren years ago about when you guys were over somewhere in some desert performing, and of course no alcohol was allowed. None of the servicemen could drink.
That would be Saudi.
And he said they were just moshing like crazy.
Yeah,
moshing in the desert.
Yeah, and they were moshing. We had this outdoor stage. It was pretty cool, but unfortunately where everybody was sitting and they had seats and everything, they just started getting up and they were stomping their feet and moshing and whatnot. It raised the dust and the wind was blowing our way. so it was kind of like having a smoke machine, but filled with sand. So our stuff was covered, and after it was funny though. I mean, it was, and you're just like, you taste it in your teeth and everything.
I bet those guys were glad to get a little bit of taste from home.
Oh man, that was probably the most appreciative audience I can remember to date. And we played 3 hours straight.
Wow.
And we didn't want to take a break. We just kept going and going and going. It basically just put 3 sets, because back then we did, hour sets and 1 hour sets, and we just did them all together and made a real big night out of it. And man, they just loved it. Absolutely loved it.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what it is like to be in the service and away from home. And when a little taste of home, everybody just craves that, so I can imagine how they reacted. And I understand you guys still keep in touch with some of those people that.
Oh yeah, there's actually quite a few that we're still in touch with that we've met in different locations. Someone would bring us back to their place, serve us dinner, or sometimes we'd spend the night. They just put us up instead of having us to go pay, for billeting or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't always free. Sometimes we had to. It wasn't expensive either, but we'd save wherever we could at those days. Young. So, and the first tours really didn't pay all that great, but they definitely got better as time went on. And
I see George is back.
He's outside.
I'm back.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Now you just need some light.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, we can hear you. Turn the porch light on.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Good. Let me get this plugged in.
There you go.
Hold on.
There you go.
All right. Let's see.
It's still a little glitchy.
If this is any better.
I don't know if it is.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounded better when you were outside.
Okay. Did it? How do you hear me now? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I can hear you good.
Okay, good. So.
Yeah, we were just talking about
There
how when after you performed overseas, how you're still keeping in contact with a lot of the soldiers and people that you met when you're overseas.
To this day, we remain good friends with and in touch with as many of them as can contact practice as possible. We've, thanks to the internet, Facebook and whatnot, that a lot of them have been able to find us and get back in touch. I almost lament that the time we were doing it was just in the internet's infancy, when it hadn't, the whole social media thing hadn't kicked in yet. If it had, it'd be insane for us, because everybody would have been in touch immediately, because those shows were extremely well attended, and we made fans everywhere we went. We made friends and people that enjoyed the show. And it would have been nice if they would have had the opportunity to follow the band further, like it is today. With the whole social media thing, we just missed that window. But it would have been cool.
Yeah, I remember the early days before the internet, where we'd sit over at the Aska house, doing the mailers every week for the new shows. That was a big thing. A little workout every week, doing the little mailers for the next show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least in those days we had help. Later on, it was just basically me and George down doing after a while.
Yeah.
Okay, now how many albums have you guys got so far? You've got
6.
Six.
Yeah, okay. And you're currently working on your 7th one, right?
Correct.
What is the name?
We're working on number 7.
And do you have a name for it yet?
This is going to be the first time. We've got a tentative title, and we haven't released that anywhere else. But we're going to do it right here at your show right now. And you go ahead, Keith.
It's called A Night to Remember.
A Night to Remember.
As
Spelled
in like
A Night to Remember.
K.
K-N-I-G-H-T.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
K-N-I-G-H-T.
It's all about me.
Night to Remember.
Reminds me of a saying I heard once. Once a king, always a king, but once a night's enough.
Yeah, right.
Now, how far along are you on that album?
Actually, we're just completing the vocals. We've got a few touch-ups of different stuff here and there, and then to the final mix stage. So it's 90% done right now.
All right, cool.
Of course, then we hand it off to a label, and who knows how long that's going to take, and when it comes out due to this COVID thing, they may hold off. You never know. Just depends. Because I don't know if like putting out an album, right? Like a lot of bands put out albums right at the beginning of this COVID, getting ready to go out on tour, and they're like, oh
yeah,
and
yeah.
they're shut down for a year. A lot of the tours are already canceling for next year, which is really bad.
And something that I saw that came out recently about, I think, YouTube and Facebook, the new rules about musicians and the bands and how they get their music out to their fans, where you could lose your account now if you try to. I've seen bands get together where they do this setup like we've got now. One will play the drums, one will play the guitar, one will sing, and they did it over a situation like this. Well, they don't want that to happen anymore. I guess because they're not making money off it or something. But
yeah, they don't. I don't think they don't want the bands live streaming for some reason. I'm not sure what, but
I think because of the COVID, it came up with a lot of new innovative ways of getting their music out there. And now they're trying to shut that down. I mean, like Lava Cantina out here, where I live, they got live bands out there all the time, but the audience, they would live stream it and do a show like this. And so you got thousands of people watching these bands, and now they're going to shut that down. I think that's kind of unfair. I mean, why punish the musicians?
I think the reason they're shutting those down is because these bands they're cover bands, and they're playing cover songs, and that whole thing is that's one of those skirt the law.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole copyright. Oh, you're playing someone else's song without permission, and blah blah blah. They don't want the liability, so they just shut it all down. I suppose if there's a band doing their own live stuff or their own original music, they might let it fly. But most of these bands that they are broadcasting are tributes, and they're cover bands, and I think they're trying to limit liability. I know it's screwy for everybody else, but they're a little anal retentive about following the rules. These streaming services and these social media services. So,
Because
like for example, when you try to use Aska music, and the people that we have, the services that put it on, have it on iTunes for us and for sale and via digital media stuff. YouTube will try to stop you from, sharing the stuff because you don't own the copyright, even though it's like you've got our full permission to do so. So that's it's one of those gray areas that people have to deal with. For example, one of the bands I'm in, Banshee, the manager for the band had tried to share some videos and they shut him down. And it's like, dude, this is the group. So he had to file a thing with YouTube and everything. And then finally it was okay for him to do. But, they get a little anal about it sometimes.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I know there's copyright rules and all that, and YouTube and Facebook and other platforms, they're kind of like the buffer zone. They want to stop it before it gets to that point where it goes into legal action. They don't want to be responsible. So they're pretty much trying to clean house before it gets to that legal stage, where you actually violating the copyright.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And, a minute ago, Keith was talking about, bands that released albums and were ready to tour, that all got shut down. I'm one of those people he's speaking of because on April 24th, we released the new Cloven Hoof record called Age of Steel via Pure Steel Records, which is also home to Aska. And, there were big plans for tours and shows and appearances and, cruise ships and all this. And all of that was waylaid by, by, what do you call it?
COVID.
COVID. Yeah, COVID totally screwed up everything. I just got a message from Alan saying, Keith said, turn off your Wi-Fi and go outside. I think that's like hours later. Didn't you send that a while back? That was a while back, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I'm good now, right? You can hear me. I'm still glitchy on the video, but you
About
can hear
15
me.
minutes.
Yeah, your voice is there, but your video's a little glitchy, but it's viewable.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Good. So.
All right. So what else you guys got? What else you guys got going on? I know you're working on the 7th album.
We've got the Danny striptease coming up in a minute.
I don't
Go ahead, Danny.
want
Well, most importantly for us is we've got the new record coming out, which, those that have been keeping track, I think our last one was in 2013, was it? Keith, Fire Eater?
I don't know.
What was that?
I was out at that point.
That's right.
So it's been a few years. So, yeah. Keith that took a little time out there, did his thing, and I think it was we're about right on schedule for our records, way on, our release schedule. Right? It usually takes about 7 years between albums.
Oh, you're trying to pull that Boston thing. You're trying to pull that Boston thing where it's like 10 years between albums.
Right.
Remember that?
Absolutely. It was, and Def Leppard too. It took them forever. What's funny is that I guess if we were making $1 million an album, we'd be whipping them out like this,
Right.
But seeing that, you put it out there, it's a niche market. It's not, all the kids aren't into our genre of metal, the traditional power metal type thing. That's not the flavor of the month. It's not, widely popular, but there are diehards that love it and listen to it and buy it and support it. And we like it. So, it gives us our, impetus and our push to keep going, to, continue on with it. If we were getting rich doing it, like I said, we'd be, we'd whip them out, all the time. But as it is, we put them out and we do our thing, and we support the music with shows and tours and appearances and whatnot, and then eventually we come around to recording another. I know there were a lot of people, even some fans like, oh, we'll never see another Aska record, that. Well, I'm here to tell you. You would be wrong.
Got one
Aska
coming.
Yeah, it's nearing completion. All the vocals are done.
And people are going to love it too.
Yeah, it could very well be our best work to date. I mean, I'll go on record saying that right now.
There you go.
It's good.
You heard it straight from Keith.
Well, I love all your stuff. So
it's really good.
I like all your stuff, even the early stuff. I mean, you could see the band growing over time.
You can. You can see us growing outward, inward, upward. No, but truly, it is. It's I mean, all our experience and our years of doing it. I think we're firing on all cylinders. The songwriting came really easy to us. We revisited some older themes that we'd had sitting around and came up with some new ones from scratch. He's not here with us today, but our guitar player, Brian Contreras, he jumped right into the pool with us there, and he probably co-wrote, a good out of the 10 songs that we're releasing on the new album. He probably co-wrote 4 or 5 of them. So he got right into the pool with us, rolled up his britches.
Which adds a nice new flavor to Aska, I think, too. We still sound like Aska, but there's a nice new flavor, I think,
Well, we got Justin out in the chat asking, what inspires your songs nowadays?
Is that Justin Bieber?
No. Justin, my son.
No.
Justin! What inspires us are the usual things that have inspired us throughout. Certainly as the primary lyricist, I've written out of the 10 lyrics, the 10 songs on there, I've written 9 out of the 10 lyrics. And my inspirations are the usual fodder. History, military history, events from my own life and amalgamated with the lives of the other people around me in my, periphery and worldview. It's almost like a lot of the songs are taken from personal experience combined with the experiences of my friends and band members and the people around me, compiled together. And those are the things that pretty much inspire me. A lot of mythology continues to be a great well of inspiration for me. On this new album, there's a song called Skoll and Hati, which is inspired by the Nordic gold and silver wolves, respectively, Skoll and Hati, which were, chase the sun and the moon with hopes to catch it. Supposedly, when they do finally catch these old, ancient, the original gods of the earth, which was the sun and moon. That's what before people made up, the gods that came later. Everybody worshipped the sun and the moon. So, in Norse mythology, Skoll and Hati are the 2 wolves that chase the sun and moon, and when they catch them, supposedly it signals the dawn of the beginning of Ragnarok. So those kind of things inspire me. And there's another song on there on the new album called "The Lie," which is inspired by again Nordic mythology. And the song deals with a Viking that he's battle wounded, he's bleeding out and everything. He doesn't know if he's alive or dead, but the things he experiences, as he comes to, after thinking he's died and expecting his bountiful and glorious ascent into Valhalla, he experiences something else altogether. And so these are the kind of things that fires. And again, not to ignore the usual, because I think Aska, unlike many bands in the genre, we've always been well-rounded. Whereas we don't just deal with one topic, or one subject matter. we'll hit the sci-fi, the alien invasion things like Keith's song. What's the name of the song, Keith?
From Out of the Sky.
From Out of the Sky. It deals with, I believe, alien invaders, another subject we touched on our prior records. And also, the personal stuff that deals with, with life, as you mature out and, reach adulthood and experience, lost love and things like that. I think it's always good for us to touch the broad spectrum of things that people our age have experienced and have dealt with. And so all the topics are certainly covered on this record, as has been the case with Aska from day one.
Okay, where can people find your music at? Is it someone's asking where can you find your music? Amazon. Amazon. Do you have a website?
No.
Mostly what's available is just download, isn't it, George? I believe. Do we have any?
From the band, we are completely sold out of everything we ever put out. Any hard copy of anything we have, CDs, vinyls, all of that sold out. You could check the Pure Steel website, eBay, Amazon, the usual places. And then if you want downloads and whatnot, of course, you go to iTunes and the Orchard and Apple, whatever, all the stuff that's out there. You can get our stuff, available there. Now, if you wanted to pick up hard copies of, say, I've got the latest works that I've been involved with, the new Banshee, the new Cloven Hoof, you can always hit me up on Facebook to get copies of those. You can go to visionarynoise.com to get copies. And, as far as the Aska stuff, just good luck searching on the secondary markets and stuff. Because we can't keep the stuff in stock. We put it out and it sells. T-shirts all sold out.
So you're saying that some of the Aska merchandise I had may be worth more than what it was when I paid for it?
If it's signed, it's worth probably about 10 to 15 cents more than what you might have, invested in originally. Now, what's funny to me and almost a little bit crazy is I've seen some of the early Aska stuff, such as the Immortal CD and the first album. Those are more rare and they haven't been, released with the same frequency as the later stuff. But I've seen those records for sale on eBay and places like that, auction houses, for as high as €600, or $200-300 and stuff like that. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Some people out there are paying some ungodly amounts for the early Aska stuff. Mostly not because it's so great. It's gotten, because, we listened back to the first album and we're like, oh, we could have done so much better. But I think people are willing to pay that price because, we made our bones later. We fleshed the band out into something worthwhile that people enjoyed and listened to and became a serious contender in the metal underground. And people want the complete collection. And those first two records are so rare that people are willing to, pay a little more to get that to complete their collection. And
yeah,
today,
in fact, I like what you guys did back in those days too. You kind of thought ahead as far as collectible merchandise. I remember you had the Immortal CD, and I believe it was it the first CD where you came out with the red and blue cassettes?
Yeah,
that was Immortal.
Variety.
That was Immortal. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know those are rare. Those went out pretty quick, and not too many people have those red and blue cassettes.
Right.
I got one of each.
Yeah, they were. We had different color. Also, the cassette had a different bonus track on it than the CD.
That's
so
right.
They each had bonus tracks, but the CD had a certain bonus track plus hidden tracks. And then the cassette had a completely different bonus track not available on the CD. Then when we re-released the first album, we put the bonus track from because cassettes were then out at that point. And then so we took the bonus track from the Immortal cassette and tagged it on to the self-titled, the debut album release as a bonus track.
Dave Manley saying it took him 15 years to get an Aska shirt.
I think I remember that. I think I sent Dave Manley a 9-tongue shirt, and then it might have been too small. I don't know. Was it, I don't know if it still fit him or not, but it was all I had. It's all we had. The thing with shirts, and I'm telling you, my son just hit me up 2 days ago. Dad, I need another one of those Aska shirts with the Viking, motif. I'm like, sorry, they're gone. They just don't last. I mean,
well, did you keep the templates and all that so you can get them ordered later on if you want to do a reissue?
We don't have the templates. Maybe the manufacturer, the printer, our screen printer might have them. But but yeah, my son was like, "Do those again? That was a really cool one." But typically, what we do is we do one style, and then we like to, we like to put out another style. Get them while they're hot. That's the thing. I mean, if you don't get them then, you might miss out. And if you miss out, then then you just have to get the new style or the new design.
Oops.
And that's part of the incentive that's out there to get the people to jump on it while it's hot. It's like, don't wait for here we go. We got some fresh baked bread. Get it now, because tomorrow there's no guarantee. We're not, a lot of bands, you can hit them up 10, 15 years later. And, oh yeah, I've still got some of those under the bed here in a box somewhere, collecting dust filled with cat hair. And they're not us. Our stuff, we print it out and it flies away. It disappears. We can't keep it in stock.
Yeah, promoter Ray here is talking about you had the album 9 Tongues, but you also had a little sampler called 6 Tongues. That's another kind of a rare thing.
Indeed, I'll let Keith tell you about that.
Yeah, that was something I came up with when we were recording 9 Tongues, but we didn't have. Yeah, that way. We didn't have enough time to finish the album, so because we were going on tour. So we made a quick little sampler, basically an EP called 6 Tongues, and had it ready for tour. So we, jumped on it, took it out, made a plain white kind of, the old generic black and white kind of label looking thing. I mean, the generic brand that used to be in the stores.
Yeah,
So it looked like that, and we had some order forms for the 9 Tongues album in there, and served a purpose for that tour, and it worked out really well.
I still think I've got like 3 or 4 of those 6 Tongues.
Those are rare.
And they also have a bonus track on it.
Yeah, there you go.
So you came out with 6 Tongues until you got 3 more tongues to make 9 Tongues, right?
Yeah, what's funny, the album's called 9 Tongues, but the CD, I think there's 10 songs on it.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure there were 10 tracks, even though we called it 9 Tongues. But five of those were on the, or 4 or 5 of those were on the 6 Tongues. 5, and then the one bonus track. And the reason we did that, it wasn't just because we're going on a tour. It was because we were going back on tour to the same region we had just toured, which was Japan, Singapore, Australia. We were going back to that part of the world, Korea, and we had just been there just 3 months earlier or so. And we're like, man, we can't go back, without something new. Yeah, the same product. Everybody already has it, and so let's give them something new that they can add to their Aska collection.
Well, Video Bob says he wants to hear Jane's Going Away.
Yeah. At the very next show, we will do it. That's Video Bob's favorite song. And
Bob won't be in town. Bob's moving.
Is he really? Where are you moving to, Bob? Las Vegas. That's right.
Yeah, I heard he was looking at a house out there.
Well, we hope he maintains a presence in DFW, because Bob is definitely one of our favorite DFW area celebrities. He's got his own show there, Screen Machines on those one of the cable access channels. Great guy, good friend to the band. One of our early. Bob, we hired him to film one of our Welcome Home shows, I believe, back in 1996. We just returned from Southeast Asia, and Bob came out and filmed an entire show, which you can see on YouTube somewhere. I think he uploaded it there. So we go way back with Video Bob, and Bob is quite the celebrity in his own right. You can watch him on a variety of shows with Brian Johnson from AC/DC and Gene Simmons from Kiss with the Vault Experience. And I mean, Bob's just a cool guy, and we really like Bob. If he's listening, hi, Bob. Whoops. No cussing. I remember now. But we like Bob a lot. He's a brother and a friend. And in fact, our last Rocklahoma appearance, I guess 2 years ago, we went in style in Bob's bus. So
cool.
We showed up. We had Bob's bus and all the accoutrements and all the fun things that go with it. You know, from the pink.
We had a great time.
The pink fur coat.
The pink fur coat, and all that fun stuff. Danny, any recollections from Oklahoma you'd like to share with us?
There's a little lag time.
It's on the lag, yeah.
Tick, tick.
It was very, very. Oh, am I still lagging? Sorry. No, Rocklahoma is always great. I hope we can play it again someday. I mean, it's changed so much, but it's always great. Yeah.
Okay, we're not lagging, are we? Okay. And I was wanting to ask Video Bob, how's he doing? You know, I know he had some surgery on his foot a couple of weeks ago, but I do know he was well enough to throw his birthday party right after he got out of the hospital. So I'm sure he's feeling a little bit better.
I don't think that was a party. I think it was a COVID protest.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's a protest.
It's a protest. I don't think because parties weren't allowed at the time. It was a protest. You know, it's okay to protest. It's just not okay to have parties or shows or any of that. It's not okay to, you know. But we're not going to discuss politics, of course.
Well, Bob says he's doing good. It's almost healed up. You can't stop rock and roll.
That's why we love Bob. There you go.
There you go.
Danny, you should get on your phone, man. You're a day late, not short back there, buddy.
Video Bob also recorded.
Yeah, sorry about that. I tried to do it on the phone. He wouldn't do it.
Yeah, Video Bob also recorded segments from Ride for Dime in early days of Ride for Dime. In fact, I'm trying to remember if he got you guys, because Aska was the first band that I hired for Ride for Dime in 2006. Very first band. They weren't the very first band to perform, but they're the first one I hired for the gig.
Yeah, you know, a little bears mentioning. I don't know if everybody knows this, but our host here tonight, Mr. Aska Dan, is also RFD. He's the guy that founded the Ride for Dime. You know, he took it and moved it on to great fame and acknowledgement around the country. There were several rides set up after that, nationwide. It started as a charity. I don't know how much money goes to charity these days for that. I don't even know if the ride's still going on, but Dan was the founder. And when it was run legitimately and money was actually going to charities, it was all Mr. Dan McNew right there. Oh, no.
The other way.
This guy, it was this guy right here, Dan. He was the man that
I feel like we're on the Brady Bunch.
You know what was interesting is all those people that ended up kind of taking over the Ride for Dime and running afterwards and everything, and no longer bringing Aska out to play it. And remember, they were all seeing Dime, and then at the Aska shows where Dime was coming every night. You know, Dime was probably present at 80%. Dimebag Darrell and often in tow Vinny, his brother. They were coming to our shows, maybe 80% of our shows in the last few years of his life. And that's where they were all coming to see these guys and hanging out with them and you know, making their honing, you know, their friendships and their association with Dime and company. And so I think you understood that, Dan. And so when you started Ride for Dime, you had Aska on the stage, and you know that's where all these people met Dime, you know. And then later, I think when they kind of took it over, they kind of yanked it from you.
Well, a lot of
whatever happened when you relinquished the reins or whatever it was. I mean, we don't want to get into that, right? But
Yeah.
the part that my point is that they stopped inviting us to perform or be a part of the event. And it's like, did you guys forget where it was that you met these guys, or where you were hanging with them, or seeing them on a regular basis? Whatever. Dime knew. I mean, he hired us for his brother's surprise birthday party. He hired us for his nephew's birthday party. He invited us out to his studio where we rehearsed or did some, jamming and stuff. He had talked about helping us out, and he was a regular at the shows, always eager to come on stage and play with Aska. And then, of course, we all know the tragedy that came after. And if you notice, for years, we didn't release any of the videos of us playing with them. We didn't, jump on this bandwagon. We just stayed out of that. We knew the extent of the connection we had with those guys, and we knew the extent of the friendship we had with them. And we certainly didn't want to impose on that or make it, about us. Later, after years had gone by, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, then we started to release some of these videos and to share them and talk about the connection there and how we knew them and them coming to the shows and whatnot. But we certainly didn't want to ride, the coattails of a tragedy, for guys that we knew, and that we had enjoyed some great times with, be it on stage and off. I mean, just the other night Keith and I were talking about Dime's first ever interaction with Keith. And go ahead, share that, Keith. Your first interaction with Dime.
He came up to me. We were at I think we were playing Trees. Actually, we were opening up for Quiet Riot one of the times, and
I remember that show.
Dime comes up to me and goes, sings one of my songs. Oh, I'm cruising through the park, got my beer goggles on. I'm like, wow, that was kind of cool. I mean, he's obviously listening to one of my songs or one of Aska's songs, and I'm like, wow, damn, dude, that's badass,
Yeah, he was singing the lyrics. He was singing the lyrics to the song Liquid Courage from the 9 Tongue CD. And Dime, he always referred to Aska as the kings of the 80s. It's like, man, you guys got the 80s down, man. You guys are the kings of the 80s, boy, man. Yeah, get your pull. And they were cool dudes. I remember that same night, Dime running up the front of the stage, just as Quiet Riot, Kevin. Yeah, they had taken the stage. You remember that? Tell him what he did.
I was at the bar doing a shot with Dime, and he's like, "Come on, brother, let's do a shot." And we did a shot, and then next thing you know, Quiet Riot hit the stage and grabs me by the arm and drags me up to the front of the stage with them, and we just watched Quiet Riot for a while, right up close. It was cool.
And I remember too, whatever shirt he had on, he lifts it up, and underneath he's got an Aska shirt and showing the Quiet Riot guys. Or he'd put one on. Oh, look at this, it's Aska. I think we gave him a shirt. He put it on right in front of Kevin, just to mess with him, just to kind of twist him up a little bit. And that's just the kind of guy Dime was, we missed the guy.
Kevin, we talked with Kevin a lot earlier that night too, and Kevin DeBro was a cool dude, man.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
He's a good guy.
I got Kevin laid that night. In fact, I
hooked him up. Oh, yeah, I remember. I remember who. And she was always waiting when he came back into town too.
Oh yeah.
We won't say any names. We'll protect the guilty. But I got him hooked up. He's like, bro, I remember me and Kevin sitting in my truck, pouring down the Aska mailing list. Just going, man, which one do you think, bro? Can you this one? You think this one? And Kevin was he was 100% all the time. I was his favorite person that night because I hooked him up.
Kind of going back to the Ride for Dime thing. The reason I even started Ride for Dime was after the passing of Darrell, they had a big tribute up in Chicago and at the Agora Ballroom. And I asked Vinny, I said, well, what does one have to do to get a ticket? Because it's sold out in minutes. And he said, just send, I think you told Dave Manley, he said, send me an email. So we got hooked up. So he's got VIP for 11 of us up in Chicago. So we fly to Chicago. We're at the tribute at the Agora Ballroom, and we're up in the balcony looking down on the floor. The place was absolutely packed, and everybody's chanting Dimebag, Dimebag. And I'm thinking, all this love for Dime up here in Chicago, and there was nothing going on back home. There was just, I guess everybody was still in shock. This was in February. He was killed in December, and the tribute was in February. So when I got back home from Chicago, I thought, what's going on? Is anybody doing anything? So I'm just one of these guys that says, well, if nobody's doing it, I'll do it. I'll just do it, So the first year, of course, we didn't have a concert the first year. It was just a motorcycle ride. Still raised about $2,000. And we put it in the Dimebag Darrell fund, which I don't know whatever happened to that fund. But the following year is when we had a lot of demand for people that didn't ride motorcycles. They wanted to participate in it. So I said, hey, let's put a concert together. So you guys were the first ones I asked. And of course, we had Philly Joe from Philadelphia, and back in those days, that was the way. I said, if you want to pay tribute to Dime, you have to contribute your time. You don't get paid. You're showing your love by just footing the bill yourself. And we had bands all across the country trying to come to this thing, so I had to select who would come. And there was an all-girl band from Cleveland. They packed up their van, their equipment, and drove all the way to Dallas. Their hotel, they paid for everything. And I said, that's the way it should be. If this is a tribute, you shouldn't have to get paid to do a tribute. If you're honest about doing a tribute, you do it out of your own pocket, out of your love. So that's how it all started out. I wanted all these bands to show how much they really did love Dime. And so the beginning, it was all grassroots effort, I guess you want to say. It was all grassroots effort. Corporate had nothing to do with it. But as time went on, and I stepped down in 2008 as president, but I was still associated with the organization. And I took care of the ride every year. But as far as the day-to-day business, that was taken over by other people. And then eventually that was relinquished. And I think Rita controls it all now. I think Rita controls all. But we didn't have one this year. I think she's focusing more on Hollywood now. They call it Dime Bash now. So I think I think they just have it Hollywood only now. I don't think there's any more going on, as far as I know. But yeah, I had a feeling that was going to happen one day. I just wanted to keep it a grassroots effort as long as I could. And of course, if I wouldn't have had a heart attack in 2008, I wouldn't have stepped down. I would have stayed with it. But for health reasons, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, it was quite commendable of you, Dan, to to start the thing and to do it. Clearly it was out of great love. You got, you were, with Aska, you were one of our road crew. You helped manage us. You set up our initial hotline, the 1-800-62-ASKA. You were crucial to a lot of the early dealings in the early Aska days, and certainly through, at Aska, you got to meet Dime and interact with those guys, and you took it and ran. And man, hats off to you. You've always been a go-getter and a doer, and
there I am.
You've got this creative spirit.
That's about 1998, I believe.
That's what you look like back in the day when you were doing it. When we met you, pretty much, And there he is with Paul Stanley.
There it is.
With your Aska shirt, I love it.
Yeah.
Manly, Dan, do you remember in Chicago we were actually acting? I can see that. Very cool. Hi, Manly. We love you, Manly. You're a good man. He wrote something. I need my glasses to read that thing. That's too small.
Well, it says, Dan, do you remember in Chicago we were actually sitting in front of Dean Zielinski and his son? I felt bad that we had better seats than him. Well, Dean Zielinski was a good guy, because in 2006, he sent me a guitar, a dime bolt guitar to give away at the Ride for Dime. So we gave away a $1,200 guitar. That was great. That became an annual thing. Dean would send us, a bunch of guitars.
Dan has Danny, what Dean Zielinski story? You got some Dean Zielinski stories, don't you?
Wait for it.
It's coming.
Cutting out.
All right. Never mind then.
Another time.
Another time. Danny, you might as well shut your camera off and head on.
No, we want to look at him, and he can leave the camera on.
No. But all right.
See, Video Bob is asking, how's the Judas Priest tribute side project going?
That's on ice. Once COVID hit, one of the members got, because he works in the health industry, and a couple of us in the band were like, oh, this mask thing and this shutting down everything. We got a little salty about it, and because he works in the health industry, he didn't like us having an opinion, so he left the band, and the rest of us were like, well, oh well, it's just a tribute.
Sorry. Did you ask
So
me?
yeah, we put that to, man, your leg is
Cut out, George.
He's like, it's okay.
I know
But,
Dean Zelensky.
He's got a 10-minute lag.
Dean Zelensky got kind of a raw deal, got booted out of his own company. I thought that
And you
was
cut
pretty
out,
bad.
but I do know Dean Zelensky. He's a very good guy.
See, we got, I think that's Taz, Allen. He says, I could tell you some stories, right, Dan? Yeah, Taz, remember Ride the Lightning when we were in Shreveport? No, well, maybe it was Lafayette, Louisiana. Ride the Lightning. You guys probably don't remember that. We were partying pretty good. We were partying pretty good that night, and you guys kicked in with "Ride the Lightning" by Metallica. And wow, we were wasted.
I remember. I'll tell you what, Dan. I remember a few nights of you being there. I remember a club in Arlington called Rascals.
Oh yeah, the little house.
Yeah, and I remember you were just shit.
Oh,
I mean, you were out. I mean, you were done.
Hammered.
Yes.
I think somebody slipped me a Mickey that night. Is what it is. And you know who? I think it was that bartender,
JD.
Really? No, the
Jeanette.
girl, the blonde girl,
Jeanette.
Jeanette.
Yeah,
I think she was trying to take advantage of you.
she was.
She was trying to take advantage of you. But yeah, man, you were just gone. You were beyond. I remember Jamie Harvey and who at the time was Jamie Townley having to, are you okay, man? Are you having to nurse you back to?
That was the night I got my nickname Aska Dan. That was the night. Yeah.
Well, you're lucky it was Aska Dan and not drunk off his Aska Dan.
Well, I spent the night at your house that night, I believe.
I think so. Yeah, you were toast, man.
Was that the old Aska house?
No, that was his apartments off 360.
Oh, okay.
Off of 360, was that in Euless? Was that in Euless or?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I believe it was Euless.
Yeah.
Up there by DFW Airport.
Yeah, Euless, yeah. What a trip. I'll tell you, we've had some good times over the years. It's always funny to me when I see the old fans, and they'll see an old video or an old picture. Man, those were the days we had such good times back then. We're like, hey, man, we're still having those good times.
Yeah. Right.
We're still having them. You guys, you're welcome to come back out. It didn't end because you had a kid or because you went and got a job or whatever. I mean, this is still going on,
Yeah. Those kids should be grown by now, so they don't need a babysitter.
Exactly. But that's how it played out. It's like the crowd just constantly cycles. It's like skin, where you lose some skin cells, but new ones take the place of the old ones.
Yeah.
That's how the old the local fan base was. Where all the regulars would come out, and then a few would shut off, and then new ones would take their place, and it was just a constant cycle. But the people that were like, "Oh, it was so fun back," it's like it still is. You're welcome to come out. Yes, sometimes there's new faces here and there, but you know what? You've got three guys. First of all, you've got me and Keith and I, who've been there since the very first record. Here we are still on every record that we've ever put out. Here we are, and Danny's been with us since
About 18 years.
for a long time, since I mean, he's featured on a track on Absolute Power. And then of course, he's on all the Fire Your Album, but he was with us then. He left. He went and joined Omen. I joined Omen then with him, and we played there together for a while. Then I joined Cloverhoof, and then he joined Cloverhoof with me, and we played there together for a while. Danny is still, I believe, an interim member of Cloverhoof. He went on to great. Then he came back to Aska, and he's been here. He's been in the band for well over a decade.
Almost 2 decades.
Yeah, long time. So, I mean, you can still see a lot of the same faces. The other guys, as far as Damon, he still comes out to the shows. He walk-ons.
Oh, there goes Danny's mic again.
Danny's mic.
Yeah, we're hearing a loop. His delay.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we hear you, George, through your mic.
He's not. He won't hear that.
10 seconds later.
How's that?
Better.
Well, I just muted him.
Oh, it's good now. But
okay, he's back. No,
okay,
muted again.
I think he muted it.
Oh,
maybe
I
turn
didn't
it down
mute it.
some.
No?
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're going to have another guest coming on here in a second.
I haven't touched it.
Manley says that Danny White is in a wormhole.
In a wormhole.
A temporal fold.
Hey, I got shots for that.
You got the shots.
Hey, Video Bob, if you're
I
listening,
got the salt for that.
I sent you a link.
Say again?
Oh, I
You
sent
sent us a link?
I sent Video Bob a link. He's going to be joining us here in a second.
Oh, neato. Video Bob. I don't see him, but in a minute, I'm sure. So anyway, in the meantime, until Bob joins us, what were we talking about? That Aska, Aska party continues, man. We've played since those early days. I know a lot of people always have an affinity for the first lineup that they discovered of a band. Hi, Bob.
What's up, Bob?
What's going on, guys? Can you hear me all right?
You got Bob with his super setup, microphone, everything. He's a professional.
You got to have headphones on, Danny. That's what you need.
Yeah. Well, he also needs a better internet connection.
I know he's dialing up on Mindspring, AOL, Net Zero, something. He's got his 14K baud modem rocking in here, kind of.
But so anyway, so people, they it's like the era they discovered. That's what they like, But I mean, the fact is, you've still got half the guys from that era, and the music it's grown by leaps and bounds. The band toured the world. Not just for the military, but in the civilian, post-military tours. I mean, we played all over the USA. We've done shows in Europe and whatnot. We played festivals across America, from the Pathfinder Metal Fest, Warriors of Metal, Keep It True, Headbangers Open Air, Sword Brothers. All manner of shows throughout the U.S. and even the world. So the party doesn't end for us. It's certainly not over for us, and we'd like to invite. We've got an open invite out there to all fans, past and present, to join us anytime, and every time they see that we're playing or whatever, come on out. You're more than welcome. We love
whenever
to
playing
see
resumes.
when playing resumes. Yeah, it's all kind of.
I'm ready for another Rocklahoma. That was a lot of fun going to Rocklahoma with you guys, watching you play that big stage. Crowd was going nuts.
That was a good
Really
show.
received you well. There was a lot of people there not familiar with the music, and considering the performance of some of the other bands that were there, I thought you guys really kicked ass.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
You had Vince Neil playing, and that's like watching a cat get run over by a truck. And then the Cult came out. Vince Neil doesn't sing anymore. He just goes, you sing. Give me a cheeseburger. Nothing happens with the dude. You know what I mean? And then the Cult came out, and the dude acted like he was pissed to be there. You know, like he was yelling at the audience. You know, if more bands really went up there and enjoyed themselves the way you do, it would translate to the audience better. And I think that's what really translates well when you travel through Europe, because you have that vibe, like, you know, as we have that mutual love for Judas Priest that is involving with the audience, because so many bands get up there and they're only performing to this invisible wall and they're not interacting with the crowd, and you make personal relationships with each and every fan. And I think that's why you've had the longevity that you have.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
You know, it's more fun that way. You know, if you make it personal, I mean, hey man, I didn't get into rock and roll because I hate people. I mean, you know, we're people. I'm a people person. You know, we enjoy the fans, especially the fans of this kind of music. That, you know, we have this common thing. You know, and
especially if the people have boobs. That's your favorite. I think you met your current chick at my birthday party, wouldn't you?
No, not at all. I didn't meet my girlfriend at your party, but we've met a lot of people at your party. They're lots of fun, you know.
I thought it was here because you were at the party where the other Judas Priest band was playing.
No. Yeah, I didn't meet her there.
That was a different situation. Okay, because that's what I thought happened.
Yeah, I met her somewhere completely different. It wasn't at a party or any of that stuff.
You met her at a meeting?
No, we met at it wasn't at one of your parties. I don't think she's ever been to one. I'd like to take her to one of your parties. Yeah.
You've met a lot of people at my parties.
Oh yeah. Your parties are.
I've had to have the Elvis room has had to be steam cleaned several times.
The Elvis room. I think all of those rooms have had to be steam cleaned and bug sprayed. After the nights of some of those wild parties. But those are so they're not family. Bob's parties are not family friendly at all.
They're totally family. A lot of families have been created at my parties. What are you talking about? They're conceptually.
You know, one of the things that you immediately notice when you go to Bob's parties is the stripper pole in the center of the deal, the giant toys stuck to the jukebox, kind of, flapping in the.
Somebody stole that one. I don't know where it went. It disappeared.
Why would somebody steal that?
Personal enjoyment, I guess.
Yeah.
You know the answer.
This has been in Bob. I'm going to steal this.
No. Tell the story about the time me and my chick came up on stage during Leather, and I was spanking her, and then the owner of the bar kicked us out of the. Like, didn't they fire you from the venue for that?
We got a soft band from the venue. We never played there again after that section. But who wants to tell that story, Keith or Danny?
No, you can tell that one.
Well, we're doing a show, and of course, Bob, at the time he was dating his wife. I don't think they were married yet.
I'll be right back.
But out and Bob was known for some wild antics when he was dating. I mean, you come in with your woman on a leash, right, and dressed in the leathers and the vinyl and stuff, and we're like, hey, Bob's in the house. Come on up, Bob. And we, as usual, we'd like to have Bob on stage with us. We invited him up, and Bob, sure enough, goes to town and gives everybody a nice little hot little show, on the wild side.
Family friendly.
Usually, yeah. I mean, there was no visible nudity or anything like that, but it was definitely
a little spanky.
Yeah, a little spanky, and some choking and other kind of stuff. Some spanking and whipping and choking, and the powers that be, the management at the venue was like, "What is happening on our stage?"
Which club did you say this was?
It was
I happened a couple of times. But also at O'Reilly's.
Jake Gilligan's.
O'Reilly's
yeah,
kicked us out also.
You've done it at other venues as well, but Gilligan's. It so happened that they're members of the city council, and I think Randy was.
I got kicked out of a Devo show for doing that because I thought, whip it good. This will be great. So I handcuffed her to a pole and I started whipping her. Security was like, "You can't do that." And I go, "What? She's not naked or anything. I'm just spanking her with a whip." But they didn't like it.
Yeah, well,
we don't do that anymore.
You do that today.
Down.
Imagine that was before the woke and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So now you do that kind of stuff, and I'm sure people would lose their minds. They'd explode. Oh my God, he's choking her. He's whipping her. He's misogynist. It's like, no, dude, we're just rocking around, trying to have a little fun and make the show, a little over the top. We enjoyed it.
I noticed our man Adika's watching. He's over Hakami Chinik over here. Jesus, he says. He's having a blast.
I'm trying to send him a link.
Yeah. But the tours you guys, I think there's some probably great stories, and I think you're holding back. I mean, you guys do really well in these Slavic countries, Germany, right? You've been all over the world. And these kind of fans are different than American fans. I was talking about this today with a friend of mine because I went to a music festival down in Sydney, Australia, and I said, the crowds there are completely different than they are here in America. They're more jovial, but then you go into some of these other countries, maybe in Germany or whatever, and they take this stuff seriously. I mean, this music is life. This music is life.
And they'll tell you if they don't like something, they are vocal. They will tell you. I remember when Danny and I were in Oman, and we'd go out there with Oman to tour Europe, and fans would come up to the table and they'd go right up to Kenny and say, "Hey, I did not like reopening the gates. This was terrible record. This was it's not Oman. I don't like it at all. It's garbage, blah, blah, blah." And they would, they would tell you with the last Aska release, we had a song on there that was
the hell's going on?
Pretty much reviled.
The hell you Yentas doing today? What's going on here?
Hey, Stefan.
Hey, we don't recognize this fellow. I'm not sure who this is.
Well, you may not have seen him, but this is what got a lot of this started. This is Stefan Adika. He has a show called Coffee Talk. And,
how you doing, Steph?
And he does a really cool show where he has. I'm building you up, Steven. I'm introducing you, and it's not even my show. This should be Dan's show.
Yeah.
But anyway, he has a bunch of cool people on his show as well. So you need to get Aska on your show over there as well.
Hey, wait a minute. I know Stefan. He's the guy that does a record show, doesn't he?
Yes, the vinyl show, right?
Yeah. The vinyl show.
Yeah.
Is that you, Stefan?
Yeah, I'm the real Stefan, but I thought there was a fake Stefan on your channel because Jeff Kidd called me up and got me crazy, and it was my wife watching. So see, I was over here in the backyard cleaning up the dog.
Oh, she's using your.
Well, she's my every John needs a Yoko, and she's the person that helps me out with my coffee talk with Adika. But I'm the guy with the vinyl show. That is me. So, hey, gentlemen, I'm sorry. I got nervous. I thought there was a troll out there being me because there's a couple of trolls always in my chat harassing. So I just want to make sure. And I go, wait a second. I don't want nobody. There's only one schmuck. That's me. There's not room for two. So I apologize. I disrupted your show and broke up the concentration. Video Bob.
Mazel.
So let me get to know. I know Video Bob, awesome guy. Dan the Man plays the vinyl. Awesome. He'll be coming back talking wax. That's every Saturday. Danny White, I don't know you. Nice to meet you.
He's drummer for Aska.
Oh, Aska, nice to meet you, man. Really. And George Cole. Yeah,
that's
George,
me, yeah.
And George Cole, nice to meet you. I don't know you. First time. And Keith Knight, nice to meet you as well.
How you doing?
Yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah.
So George has had a couple of bands. Aska plays with Omen, Cloven Hoof.
Banshee.
What other bands?
Banshee.
And probably some other polka bands or something. I don't
know.
He's the hardest working guy in Dallas, that's for sure. But he travels the world with his band.
That's a damn sure.
This is so weird for me to be on the other side. I feel so nervous when
Yeah.
I'm on the other side. I don't have the control. I see the comments. So this is how it works. The Colonel, the Stefan played with Dee Dee Ramone. Do not tell people I played with LA Guns and Dad's Porno Back. Don't damage the brand, Colonel. Don't damage the brand. But no, man. Paul, Debbie Smith is here. Carl, you got a good party. You got a rock and roll party going here, man. This is cool.
I'm glad
So
everybody's
back in Dan's show.
I want to know.
I'm just glad everybody's come to support me. I mean, this is my first show, a little nervous, so I'm glad I got some people with some experience help me out a little bit.
Dan, you're the man. You're the man, and trust me, you're going to do just fine. You got all this love and support from me, and I'll push that mother effer as much as I can. I love you, And,
about Dan too, and we've always said this to Dan from the very day we first met the guy. He's got a voice, custom made for radio. Dan has got the coolest DJ voice ever.
I got the face for radio too.
He's come. See his vinyl. Hey, how about his vinyl collection, man? Also, the guy, he's great. He's great.
Look, the vinyl collection pales in comparison to his porn collection. That's what you should see.
Don't no nudity around me. I don't need. I got people hocking me China all the time. You got to PG. We got to be PG. Trust me.
Your mom's dating Ron Jeremy now, so
don't need. Oh my goodness.
They're writing pen letters back and forth.
He used to come to see me play, and he's a very nice guy. He used to fall asleep at the shows. That's how great we were.
If you've ever hung out at the Rainbow, you would run into Ron, and he would walk around in his pair of blue Crocs and sweatpants, panhandling for soups and sandwiches and a White Russian. And whenever I would go there, I'd always hook him up with some food and everything because he didn't make money. He didn't have any money. Everybody's seen the guy naked, but he hasn't made $1 in a long time.
He got money. Hold on. Listen, trust me.
He worked for the Friends benefits.
He has money. He owns a lot of apartments. Don't let the same sweatpants fool you.
I don't know.
Man who cries broke is the richest. Look at this. Debbie Smith, Denise Kennedy, the Colonel. Look at you got all the good people. Denise Kennedy, all the love here. Laura Rossman is here. Look at you got a good house here, dude. Proud of you, Dan the man. Now, Ron got money, man. Hey, you guys see Dan's video of Elvis? Him up close to Elvis? That's cool stuff.
TCB right there.
Early thing. That's one of the you know what? One of the other great videos of Dan was when he remember when you got the Columbia breaking up coming in over the skies in Texas. That got you on all the news channels.
Oh, yeah. Didn't a piece of it land in your yard or something?
No. I witnessed it from my front yard.
I could have sworn there was some piece of the shuttle landed in your backyard or something.
No, just all over East Texas. That's all.
Yeah,
it's all over. But Dan captured that, and his video was one of the ones that was
on the news. And all that.
And they also used it in the Columbia accident investigation thing.
Yeah, very cool. I was very when you were showing those videos at the backstage party after I think it was Talking Wax. I was like, holy crap! I was like, great stuff, man. You got some great stuff here. Hey, you got some great talent in the audience. You got George over there, who is an amazing artist. That's some great art of you, Dan. He put you in the award, but you'll be coming back because you're going to play on Talking Wax at the vinyl. And why do I have an echo? Well, I hear myself twice. I'm scary. I don't want to hear my voice.
Which one of y'all is doing
I don't need two Steffens. Oh my God, one is enough.
Danny's connection finally kick in.
Yeah, and I had to mute him.
Danny's having problems with the. Hey, really quick, you guys. Ed Stasium. You guys know the producer Ed Stasium. He's playing the vinyl show tomorrow. But do you guys ever saw this cat on Instagram? It's called Sessions on the Air, and he breaks each track down. His name is Christian Han. He's a DJ.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, his show is sick. He took Living Color to track, and I don't know how he's getting the tracks and separating. He's the drums, the bass, the guitars, everything. He did the whole thing on Prince. You got to check this out. He sits in his room. He has each track going through them. He did all Duran Duran. It was excellent. Funny to watch Stefan without control. I know. Cooking with the Kid. You made me come on here. I thought there was an impersonator. It's my wife.
Bad.
So Cooking with the Kid. You
by the way, great interview with Doc McGee the other day. Had Doc McGee on.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
He didn't. He's. You know what? That was a nerve-wracking show for me, and I'll tell you why. Because Doc, that pain in the ass. He goes into. I tell him, come on before we'll test the sounds. He comes on exact. He can't get on. I'm freaking out. I had Oy Vey handle the intro with Corey. I was like, oh my god, I'm panicking, and then it worked out. But you know what? There's a major fail on that one, which upset me.
Whatever.
Rookie move on me. My mic. I thought it was on. The computer was getting. And it's like, ugh.
Oh,
I kept doing that in the chat, telling you something's wrong with his mic. I could tell something's wrong.
Problem is when I'm going live and there's too many people in the chat, I can't read it all because then I get this. Because last time Doc was on my show, I go, "Hey, what's your dad do for a living?" And then I'm looking at the chat and trying to communicate with everybody, and then again, I go 10 minutes later. So what did your dad do after? I'm like, oh god, what a fail. So this time I got some questions ready from the audience the night before. And I try to, it's hard, man. It's hard. I'm one-man show. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm out of my mind. But no, Doc is a great guy. And yeah, it was wonderful to have him on the show. There's a couple more cool people coming on the show. I'm having a Blackjack reunion Tuesday with Sandy Gennaro, and I'm having Bruce Kulick. That was the band that was with Michael Bolton.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's before he was Michael Bolton. He was still Michael Politic at that time.
Mike, that's right, George. Totally, you got it, my man.
I own both of the Blackjack releases, and I was a big fan. Of course, through Bruce. I discovered them through Bruce, and retroactively, got into the band. Yeah, but not because of Michael, though, but because of Bruce. I love those Blackjack songs.
I'll tell you, I don't know. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know much about Blackjack, but when I was living in New York City, there was a club called Nirvana, and this is about like around 85. I would say 84 could be. And it was like a jam. It was like all the way. It was a restaurant, Indian restaurant, and then by Times Square, and then they had like a little jam at night. And it's probably about 84. And this cat, Michael, he wasn't famous yet. Bolton would come in there, and it was he would jam on Dock of the Bay all the time. So this might have been right. Maybe he might have just left. It was around the time when Animalize was out. So everything I go in my time is like with Kiss records and stuff. But that being said, Sandy came as a fluke because that was the day that Doc was supposed to come on my show. He had to reschedule. So then Sandy, which came on my show last second, New York guy, and it was a great show. But I didn't know he played on one of my favorite songs, and how he got the gig. He was rehearsing with Blackjack. Benny Mardones heard him, and he goes, "Look, I want you to play on my record. Don't quit your band." And Sandy is the drummer on that album, Into the Night, Benny Mardones, the whole album. And that song is such an amazing song. And the space between the drums, and he goes, "Yeah, he wrote this song," and he's singing to me acoustically on the piano. I'm like, oh my God. And the song was a hit twice. What a great tune. So a lot of cool history there. So yeah, I'm happy to have those guys on Tuesday. Yeah, they'll be on Tuesday in the morning. So that's cool.
Hey, Stefan, Aska we're definitely influenced by Kiss, big time. Mm-hmm. So, George knows everything about Kiss. In fact, you ought to call your friend Eric Singer up and have him come on.
Oh yeah, Kiss, yeah. You know what? Look at this. Look, you got Cooking with the Kid. Thank you, Cooking with the Kid. He's great first show, Dan. Look at look at those super chats. That's what you got to do. I'm going to teach you.
Look at that.
When you see those super chats, you go up and then go up. You got a green one. Go back up. You got Cooking with the Kid.
JB Tharp.
JB, that guy is one of the best. The Coffee Talk family, you guys are so wonderful. Look at these guys. He sent me a cool shirt. Really cool people in there.
One of the best.
He is one of the best.
Family, you guys are so wonderful.
There I am. There's a double Stefan. Oh, that's scary.
Now, Danny, is your microphone and everything working? I had a question for Dan, or a comment. Is it?
Yeah, I'll unmute him, but there's a lag, about 15-second lag.
You got a bit of a lag. Since we were talking about Kiss, Danny here used to be a representative for Court guitars, Court basses. I remember I think he hooked me up with one of those Court basses back when they came out, the Gene Simmons Axe made by Court. And I had heard a story, and I hadn't confirmed it, and I don't know if you know if this is true. The Gene Simmons went out and bought every one of the last remaining Court basses and put them into a storage just so nobody could have them, so he could sell his basses. I was wondering if you ever heard that story when you were working with Court.
That is what I heard. That is true. He didn't want, once the contract ran out, he didn't want any of them left, so he went out and bought all of them.
I think the connection on your Commodore 64 is lagging a bit.
You know what? That sounds like a great story, but I didn't get any of it, but I'm going to try to watch you guys.
Can you hear me now?
You know what? It's like choppy. It's like
It's a little choppy, yeah.
Hey, Danny, do you have headphones? Like
you need some headphones. If you had
you
some
need
headphones,
It's not going to work like that. Trust me. It's going to be
He's out at his country house and he doesn't have very good internet out there.
Yeah, if he has maybe the iPhone headphones, that might help him out.
Yeah, he's out in the sticks.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I don't have anything out here.
Can he type in the comments? Maybe it's hard to hear him.
Can you do sign language? Maybe.
Well, look, I wanted to jump in. Look, I don't want to take away from you guys. Hey, Dan the man.
Yeah,
you do a good job tonight. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll watch the show. Thank you for letting me jump on here. This is your first show. I'm glad I was here to see you pop your cherry.
I appreciate you stopping by.
You know what? Let's give you a round of applause. F&A, man. You're all right, my man. Round of applause. You kick ass. And you know what? You guys with the super chats out there, thank you for supporting Dan the man. He's a good man. And hell, man. Friends would tell him, send him a little more love in cash. The hell, tell him Adika sent you. Okay. Dan, you better get that A game on. Who do you want to play on Talking Wax? Who like, is there one guy you want to go after?
Well, let's see. I've already gone. Let's see. I already beat Dirty Royce. I already beat Scott Harris. I don't want to go against Ashley.
He's a tough one. Do you think anybody's going to be able to take him down?
I don't know. He's 2 weeks running.
It's the imports. It's hard to go against European records. It really. Well, it's a tough one.
I just thought Ed Stasium would have something better than what he did, but he had good stuff. But I think
Ed got robbed.
Yeah.
I got a buddy of mine, Ed Sandoval, is a photographer and also a big Kiss fan, and he deals with records. And I might have to send him over to your Talking Wax show because he might be able to run you for money. So I'll send you a link to him.
Let's check it out, man. I mean, tomorrow.
I don't know Ed Stasium. I don't know that guy, but I do know Oddnasium and Gymnasium.
No, Ed. Let me tell you, Ed Stasium. He's a legend, dude. He did all the Ramones records. He did Living Color.
Brother Jim.
Dude.
Yes, absolutely. I do. Yes, I know that guy now. I know the name anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks, JB.
Yeah. Yeah, look at JB. Hey, man, there you go. Stefan took all my money. There you go, my man. No, Ed did some major great. And you know what? I got to give a shout out while I'm over here. Thank you to Spinners Record Shop, because everybody who plays you win vinyl from Spinners. So those guys are kicking butt, man. Thank you.
We need to get some sponsors over here for Dan the Man with Just the Facts.
I think you better get a game show or something, right? Dan the Man. You better have some kind of make it man cave night here.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out my format.
You'll get there.
I want to do a variety of different things. I don't want to be on one subject all the time. I want to that's why I want to talk about anything and everything but politics.
No, you'll get there.
Well, you can definitely talk about the space program, NASA. Maybe you can get some astronauts on the show. That would be cool.
You'll get there.
Well, I do know a guy from NASA.
No, you get there. Hey, politics screws everything up. Look at my mom and my dad. They're over there cursing each other out. They've been divorced since kindergarten, and I thought they would be. I thought I had a chance that they're going to be back together. My mom's calling my dad a fucking a-hole. My mom's calling him an F&A. It's out of control. And there I am talking about it.
Where is it? George is the worst. I mean, there's times every other day he's got a 30-day ban on Facebook. He's like, how many? Like you're off Facebook more than you're on it.
You know what? I'll tell you,
with a ban.
After my last ban, where they tried to completely depurse me, they tried to deactivate my account completely, and I reported it to the new. That commission that President Trump made, the online censorship.org.
I don't even know what's going on. I don't even watch the news anymore.
I didn't know that was a thing. I need to get that number.
Yeah, that's a thing. And
it's a website.
I reported that. I reported what they did because it was over politics. And within less than 24 hours, I was reinstated. And I haven't been banned since. For that. And I share stuff every day. Now, only on my page. I don't share it on band pages or anything, but just on my personal page, and they've never
Yeah.
messed with me since.
I noticed when I don't.
Hey guys, let me.
Good.
I hear my little one running. I gotta get her in the bath. But look,
see you
nice
later,
meeting
Steven.
you guys. Okay, Stefan. It's Stefan. The guy
That's
got
what I said.
100.
Stefan Wolf.
He called me Steve. The guy got 100K followers. He calls me Steven. I'm call
No,
me.
I
No,
said
wait,
Stefan.
Oh, you did? I just
did.
want to pick on you. Stovetop Stuffing. They used to call me in school. Hey, listen, I want to know something. The band. Where's there a website? Anything about the band here that I could check out?
Oh, what's your website, George?
Right there.
Oh, there it is. Aska.
Facebook.
Key.
ASKADFW. Okay,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
Perfect. Are
Aska DFW.
you guys on Spotify
Check it.
too? Is your music on?
Oh yeah, we're iTunes,
Yeah,
Spotify.
There's some stuff there.
Long career, 6 albums, number 7 coming out, toured the world. We're on Pure Steel Records.
If you were to pick one band to compare yourself to, who would you say sounds like?
Clearly, the Commodores, mostly. You know.
I
I
say
love
something
that.
similar to
I
that.
love the Commodores.
I would say potentially maybe Manowar or
Oh, don't say Manowar. I got to be honest with you.
not
Those
with the
guys
hive.
are jerks. No,
They're probably dicks,
Oh, I
but
love
they
Manowar.
sound great.
jerks. They're jerks.
I would say kind of a Dio era Sabbath with
Very cool.
Queensryche.
Very cool. That's a cool mix right there, man.
Splash of Maiden.
The only reason
Flash of
I
Judas Priest.
threw in Manowar is because they sing a lot about fantasy and stuff, and you guys do, like dragons and Vikings and this kind
Dude,
of
I
thing.
love that. I'm a huge fan. I mean, Kiss is
We
my
don't-
main band.
We don't have
Man, I
anything
love
about dragons yet, but yet.
I don't know.
Very cool. I got to check you guys
Maybe not
out.
dragon. Some Valkyries or something. I got to
Yeah.
catch up on all my Norse folklore.
Yeah, there's a
There
lot
you
of
go.
that.
Post their
A
site
lot
one more
of
time so I can
Nordic
see it. Their link
mythology.
again for me.
Somebody send the
There
link.
it is.
Ask
There it
W.
is. Facebook.com. Okay, perfect. All right.
The DFW
Very
is for Dallas Fort Worth. We used to have a
Right on.
dedicated website, but I don't know, Keith. What's going on? You need to talk to our buddy Tony Robinson.
Yeah, look at
Yeah.
this. Good night, Stephen Adika. Cooking
He's
with
out in the
kid.
country
I
right
love
now. He
you.
can't tune in.
Thank you, Cooking with the Kid.
Okay,
All right, you guys,
Stepan.
I'm out of here. You guys be good. Nice meeting you guys, gentlemen.
Stephen Wolf, so
Steven.
nice to meet you.
Yeah, call me
Yeah.
Steven Stovetop Stuff, and good luck with the band. And let's, hey, everybody out there, check out their site down there and support the band, support Just the Facts. And you know what? You're rich already, Bob. What the hell with you? All right, I love you guys. I'll see you guys
Mazel
later.
tov.
Mazel.
Thanks, Stefan.
All right, buddy.
Bob
Hey,
is my
Bob.
richest friend.
See ya.
Thank you,
Bob, be
Linda.
well, my friend. Okay, I hope you're okay because I know you're a while ago you're in a hospital and
I'm doing
everything's good
great.
with your health. Good.
Good.
Linda Foster, thank you very much.
Yeah, Linda
Yes.
Foot.
Wow, Linda,
amazing.
thank you.
That's really nice. Yeah, and everybody in the chat, have a wonderful night. Thank you for supporting the man over here, Dan. I can't wait for you to come back on Talking Wax. I love you very much. You're a good man, and everybody in the chat, mazel and hug each other. And you guys, nice to meet you.
Nice to
Alrighty?
meet you.
Yeah, really nice to meet you. Alrighty, buddy. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Linda. That's a full case of Keystones right there.
We
An
love
18 pack of Bud Light.
That is the large bottle of Fireball. Pow! Come on.
Wow, it gets quiet when Stefan leaves.
Well,
Stefan
it's hard
Wolf.
to get between me, George, and Stefan, you can't get a word in edgewise. I think Danny's going to fall asleep back there. He's got a Swanson pot pie about to kick off in the oven. He's ready.
He's 10 seconds behind.
Yeah, he'll
Any
catch
minute
up
now,
with you.
he'll. We got
Any minute he'll
Danny
get there.
dialing in from 1987.
Swanson pot pie. I like that.
I don't know. I just that. While I was on the phone, I love technology. My mom, she's like 76. You guys, Video Mom, and she's
We
not
know
been
your
doing
mom
too
very well.
good. And hey,
Oh, no.
hey, back up.
No, we don't know that well, but we know.
And
Your
and
mom is
she,
great, man.
And well, she hadn't been doing good, so she's been at home. And I love technology because she's not used to this kind of thing. And she was complaining how she wanted me to bring her some chicken. I go, I'm not driving to Fort Worth and bringing you some chicken. So I Grubhubbed her a catfish dinner from Lisa's Chicken, and she just thinks that's the greatest thing she's ever seen. She goes, I had no idea you could get, crappy food delivered. I thought you could only do pizza, because she wanted some like drive-through chicken. And it cost me $20 to send her $5 worth of chicken, but whatever. And she is just in hog heaven right now that I sent her
Hey,
some chicken.
you know what, Bob, I want to tell one of your stories real quick. Something I witnessed at one of your parties, but I thought it was this kind of thing that just made me really, appreciate you as a human being. I liked you since way back when, but at this one particular night at one of your parties, you gathered everybody, you had everybody come downstairs, at your 2-story, mansion there, and everybody came down and you told the story about how you were a huge Elvis fan and you liked Elvis. And one of the things that moved you about Elvis was how generous he was to the people that had been there with him and supported him throughout and whatnot. And at that moment, you told the story, everybody's gathered up listening politely. And then you reached in your pocket and you whipped out a set of keys and you said, and in following this Elvis tradition, Mom, this is for you. And you gave her a brand new Cadillac. I think it was a Cadillac, wasn't it? Was that
the gold Cadillac? Yeah.
Yeah, of course your mom was just, fit to be tied. I mean, like hung on the moon. She was over the moon, and everybody was just like, oh my God. I mean, that right there, dude, that just shows, I think everybody at that party, certainly, just what a cool dude you are. I mean, what a great guy. This is the kind of thing that, everybody dreams of doing. And the minute you were able to, you did it. You didn't wait.
I always dreamed of that. When Elvis got his first big paycheck, he bought his mom that pink Cadillac, the one that's on display at Graceland. And it was a 54 Cadillac. I always dreamed of doing that. I've done it twice, actually. I got her another one. I got her the SRX, that minivan looking one. And I bought that one for her and I picked her up in it. She goes, oh, you got a new car, I see. And I go, yeah, it's pretty nice. What do you think of it? And she's like, oh, this is really nice. And I go, well, I hope you do like it because this is yours. And she was like, what?
Awesome.
And so she's on the third actual Cadillac I bought for her. So, if you can't buy a Cadillac for your mom, even if it's a beat up one, you're not trying hard enough.
I think, it was certainly one of the things. I mean, I already had, an affinity for you, but that really is like, man, this guy's good people, man. I mean, you're taking care of your mom like that when you had the so many people out there that pretend and put on airs and show, but you actually, you wear it on your heart, dude. You're the real deal.
Well, so, I tell you, she's not going to be around too much longer, and so I've been feeling that way for a few years, but as it gets closer, I've already lost my dad and she's 76 and she has the COPD and she can't breathe too good. And she keeps telling me, I mean, she gives me her watch or she gives me the deed to her house. She goes, I'm not going to be around long. And I know that it's true. And when that time gets closer, if you've lost your parents, it's once they're gone, and we've all experienced losing people in our lives, like Dime and Vinny. Vinny's been really hard on me because he was one of my closest friends. And, we texted each other every day. And every time something special happens in your life, the first thing you want to do is, tell your best friend and tell your mom, and when there's nobody on the other end of the phone, I mean, you can have 100,000 Facebook friends. Who cares? There's only 2 or 3 people that you really want to call and say, hey, and when they're gone, man, it's so you gotta really do the best that you can while you have them. I just turned 46. I know I'm still a wet behind the ears compared to you, George. You've been around since the pyramids, but you still look fantastic.
Thank you.
Hey, George, someone in the, see, who was it? Bill K is asking, what does Aska stand for?
Uh-oh.
Go back to George.
Oh, yeah.
What does Aska stand for? We stand for justice and might, and we stand for, the American way. Is that what we meant by the question, or was he wanting to know what Aska means?
Yeah, the ASKA.
Yeah. Actually, Aska, it's a Scandinavian word that means ashes. But certainly for us in the early days, we got it from a clique, a group of friends in Panama that had this kind of gang, this clique going. And for them, I don't know, Keith, can we tell or not? I mean, is it okay?
It's been so long, I don't see why not. You know.
Well, the clique was an inside group, and they called it Ask. Where I grew up in the Canal Zone, there were two sides basically where we're on the Pacific side, on the Atlantic side. I lived, and most people that I knew and associated with, and everybody in the band lived on the Pacific side. But Darren, the other band co-founder, had grown up on the Atlantic side. That's where he started, and then he moved over to my side. But when we had our high school band together, Legion, we would do these what we'd call the Transismian tours. Which we'd play one on Friday night. We'd play on the Pacific side, and Saturday night we'd go and do a show on the Atlantic side. So we'd hit both sides of the American isthmus, or the American side of the territory. And on the Atlantic side, we met this group of friends they had this little group going. They were called Aska. And they had chants, the Aska, they had all that stuff, and the name and all that. And because they enjoyed our band so much, they kind of inducted us into their group. And we started dating girls from the Atlantic side, from their group, and they kind of made us honorary members. And so years later, fast forward to, we've graduated high school, we're living in the States now, we're looking for names for the band. And because we've been made, members of this group, we decided to, what about Aska? I bet there's no band out there would ever have that name. And that'd be a great name. So we went with that, and of course it meant Atlantic side kicks ass. It was one of those military type designations, an acronym, and each stood for that. Over the years, initially we used to, we hid what it meant for years, just to add to the group's mystique. And then later people, well, but really, what does it stand for? What is it? And we'd start making stuff up. Oh, it means Arnold Schwarzenegger kicks ass. American soldiers, kick ass. Stuff like that. We came up with all manner of funny and interesting, make-believe versions of what it meant. But initially, what the clique we got it from, they meant it, and we meant it as Atlantic side kicks ass. And that's there was another group down there that had they were called Czar, and they were Canal Zone always rocks, and so it was kind of the thing to do when we went with it. But years later, as when the territory seems to be, started calling it just telling what the Scandinavian word for it was, and that's what it is. Hey, who's mixing tape back there? Jesus Christ! Sounds like a work.
Hey, George.
Yeah.
How did you guys end up in the U.S. and how did you end up in Dallas or the DFW area?
Well, I'll tell you, when we always knew that our time in Panama in the Canal Zone was a temporary thing, because in '78, Carter had already signed treaties that started the 20-year process of relinquishing this territory, this American territory, back to Panama. So we knew our time was limited there. So when we graduated, almost everybody, all American citizens that were down there, had already had in mind, man, we're starting the migration, the return home, so to speak, back to the U.S. And we came back here, and the reason for DFW for us was simply, and initially we came to El Paso. I went to El Paso, to play with a guy named Rob Nelson that I had played in one of my high school bands called Virgin in Panama. And he was a military brat, son of an armyman, army sergeant, and he was stationed in El Paso. So I went there initially to jam with him. We tried that out for about a year. It didn't really work. And then Darren joined me from New York. He had gone to New York to go to school. And he came and joined me. And immediately we could see that, man, El Paso is not the place to try to get a heavy metal band off the ground, or to get a metal band started. So we said, let's look throughout Texas at the other cities to see if there's something, more happening or more exciting. So we went to San Antonio, we went to Austin, and we came to the Dallas-Fort Worth area where I had family. I had family here, cousins, an aunt, several aunts, and we always thought, well, if and of all the cities we visited, we liked Dallas the best because, you had two major cities basically in one area. And we figured, well, there's more cities to work, and easier. You can work both cities and, you don't have to expend as much effort. And two, we figured if all goes tits up, if everything goes bust, we've got family that we can, I've got family in the area that we could depend on and stay with. And initially when we did move to this area, we did stay at my cousin's for a week or two, and until we could get ourselves established. And, so it worked out that way. And my dad was a native Texan, he's from Texas. So we, this was always the place. It was always going to be the place for me to try to get a leg up. And, Keith had come down to join a band here as well. And so when we got Keith into the band, it was almost like, wow, we knew where we came from. You know what I mean? It's like we had the same motivation to drive. We were both willing to travel a long distance for rock and roll. To go to a new place.
Didn't you come down from Michigan?
I did. Lived just north of Detroit. Flew down here, try out for a band. And I fell in love with the area more than I loved the band. So, but then I drove down here, grabbed a U-Haul, and behind my truck and dragged it down here and moved in with the singer for a while, and the band flopped pretty quick. Drummer quit. Basically shortly after I showed up, and then the guitarist had all kinds of family strife going on, and the singer's like, "Hey man, I found this ad in a newspaper of this band. Why don't you go check them out and see if they need a singer?" It's for an ad for a bass player. So I went and tried out for Aska, right? And I got back and they're like, so dude, you got the gig. I'm like, all right, cool. Dude's like, hey, so do they need a singer? And I'm like, no, sorry. But you got me the gig, so thanks anyhow.
Debbie Smith is wanting to know if all you guys live in Texas.
Right now, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every one of us. Yeah. Now that's not the case with some of my other bands. Like I'm in a British band, Cloven Hoof, where the entire band lives in England, and it, except for me and Danny, we're here in the U.S. So even though we play with this British band, we live here in Texas. But Aska is 100% Dallas-Fort Worth based, as is Video Bob. For now.
I'm about to get out of here. I'm ready to go to Vegas, dude. I'm ready. There'll be rooms for you to come.
We wish you would stay, Bob, but if not, if you throw a big shindig in Vegas, invite us up, and we'll see what we can get out.
This property is so awesome. I'm hoping I get approved for it. It's like over an acre. It's not too far from the Strip. It's about 15 minutes from the Strip, and it's a big place like this. Not as big as this one, but it's got a big parking lot. It's got a bunch of outbuildings, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add on to the house and build a big party room like we have, for the people that hadn't seen it here. I literally have a stage, like George just got. We have a stripper pole. It's when people go to my house, they can't believe the house. And so
huge.
I think the very first band we ever had play here was you guys with Aska, and also for our TV release party when I did my TV show. So you played here a bunch of times, a couple of different times, and I want to continue that tradition. And the thing about it is, the way I look at it is, I probably will see a lot of my friends just as much as I see them now in Vegas, because everybody goes to Vegas at some point, you know. And I don't know, it's going to be great. So maybe we'll have the housewarming party with Aska. That'll be cool.
That would be very cool. I'd be totally down for that.
Yeah, it'll be fun. My mom, I got sidetracked because my mom called me and she goes, well, where's this food at? And the Uber guy said he had brought it. Well, this friggin' he just like threw it out on the lawn and ran away, you know. They just and he was supposed to take it to the door, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just left
They're
it on the
scared
porch.
now. COVID. They're scared, you know.
Yeah. I go, she's 100 years old, man. You're supposed to at least take it to the door and knock on the door and run away, you know. Jeez.
No.
Carl says, I'm going to miss our house. You know, Carl been an Aska roadie and fan since
Carl Todd. We love Carl Todd.
100 years
Great.
ago. Tell you what kind of guy Carl is. You know, he helped co-sign on this house that I'm in now because at the time I couldn't get it, and he helped me get this house. So believe it or not, when I get the bill, it's got his name on it along with mine. So that's what a friend Carl is.
I sold Carl a car one time.
Yeah, his mom. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
From West
So,
Way
yeah,
Ford.
we love us a Ford Taurus. We've had.
Yeah, that was a Taurus I sold him.
Yeah. So we've all known each other for like decades. It's crazy. And you know, me and Carl were chatting with each other about, you know, Carl made a joke, not a joke, but he goes, man, does everybody have a show now? He goes, I should get a show. But the truth is, you know, me and Carl were doing this stuff back in the early 90s. We were doing this on cable access when we did Underground Connection and the Metal Review Show. We were long before there was an internet. And matter of fact, Carl was on the internet before there really hardly was such a thing. I mean, he was dialing up on a BBS with just a black screen with green letters with a floppy disk drive and the phone connected. And how I got involved into the internet was I went over to his house and he was messing with the computer, and I had never seen such a thing before. And I got on there and immediately got onto a chat line. And the next night, I totally hooked up with this chick and got laid. And it made it my life's mission to get a computer. That was back before there was even Windows, I think. And that's how I got into computers, but way back in the old days. So I remember doing some of the reason I'm Video Bob is because I did music videos. And I remember we did that video. It was at On the Rocks in Deep Ellum that we did for you.
Yeah, The Rock. Yeah, it was The Rock. Yeah.
Was it The Rock, or there was On the Rocks and there was The Rock?
I won't say it was The Rock, the second one.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Because it was probably about maybe 94, 95. Was it 96, you think? It might have been 96.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, it was 96, I believe. Maybe 95, but 96.
Yeah.
Because that was like the Asian Invasion tour I believe, was 96. I think we had just come back from that. Yeah. Damon was in the band. I don't think Jason had joined us yet.
And I used to play that on my cable access show. I used to play the live video because at that time, you know, you didn't have internet. You had cable access, and it wasn't as evolved as the kids know it now today, where you have on demand and everything, you know. And me and Carl had gotten to be pretty popular in Fort Worth with that cable show because we would get recognized and stuff. We got to be local celebrities. And
I remember that show, man. I used to watch that show.
Yeah, I remember we had a hotline, and I remember Diamond Vinny leaving messages on it. That was the greatest thing. I have them recorded somewhere, but those were good times, man. And I have a Facebook group, not to give a plug. I don't make any money off it, but I just, Dan, I just made you a moderator admin on there.
Yeah, I saw
it's called, but I recently changed the name of it. What did I change the name to it to?
To the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, because I wanted to expand, and you should check this out. Oh, look, I'm getting notifications on it right now. Hold on. It's called DFW Music Scene in the 80s and 90s. It's a Facebook group. So there's definitely some stuff, you know, with you guys on there. You guys should all go on there and check it out.
You know, there was just a question from Bill K right there.
What was it? What did we miss?
He said, "Hey, did Aska play your parties, Bob?" And that's a resounding yes. We actually touched on it
for
a second ago.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah,
talked
Aska
about it.
played Bob's parties with 4 or 5 times. Several times we've been up there.
Lots of times.
Yeah, and sometimes when we don't play, even if we're not playing, we're still in attendance. You know.
Oh, you left your hoodie here for 2 years.
Yeah, no, I kept looking for that damn thing, and have you seen my hoodie? No. Finally, I think Rachel found it, or somebody. Is the one with the lion on it? Yeah, that's my hoodie. Oh my! I couldn't believe it, man. You know.
Matter of fact, let me. I'm gonna post I'm gonna post a link to your show, Dan, right into our page so that people can tune in and watch it right now. Let me see.
Okay, cool.
And they can come back and check it out. So and feel free to post
Hey,
in
just
there.
so
your
you'll know,
show.
I think my microphone. I think I should be not lagging now. I hooked it through my phone.
There he is. Now you're working.
There you go.
So Danny and Keith haven't got a word in edgewise. We need to.
Yeah, but mine's working. So
Yeah.
mine's in real time. What happened to George? He disappeared.
I don't know. He had to go get a hot pocket or something.
But hey, earlier you asked me about that court car. That story is true.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, so Gene started having his own bass guitars manufactured, and he. So for those that don't know, a company called Court was making the Axe bass. And over the years, a lot of different companies have made versions of the Axe bass licensed. Right. And that Court one, God damn, that thing was heavy. That thing was like made out of lead. But it was a good guitar for the money, because I think it retailed for what was $600 or $800. I don't know. It wasn't too bad. But the Gene Simmons one that he makes now, it's $5,000, and the only way you can get one is you have to go to genesimmonsx.com, and then you sign up, and then the only way you can get one is if he hands it to you personally, and he'll sign it and present it to you, which is a great experience.
Who manufactures it now?
Oh, yeah, it's a private company. I forget the name of the guy that does it, but he was making them in America, and it's a full neck body through. It's a full solid body bass. I mean, it's really well made, and I have one that I got from him in Key West, Florida. Me and Carl went, actually. Me and Carl Todd. And it's a great thing, but $5,000. But what you're really paying for is that you get to hang out with Gene Simmons for the day, and he taught me how to play bass a little bit. I played Cold Gin with, the Demon himself on a guitar that he handed to me and signed. And what's the price for that, right?
Right.
How do you put a number on that?
Did you get the Axe or the Punisher?
I got the Axe, and if I get a chance to do it again, I'll get the Punisher next time, and they're both the same price. Cool. So.
Hey, everybody! I want everybody to say hi to somebody here real quick.
Uh-oh.
This is my oldest daughter right here, Thessaly.
Hi, Thessaly.
Hi. It's nice to meet you.
How old is your daughter now?
She is 15. Go ahead, you tell them.
Yeah, I'm 15.
All right.
And she sings and she acts and all that good stuff, and she's great. Dan, I don't think you've seen her since she was a baby.
Oh yeah. And your son, I remember your son, the night he was born, we just got back from Vegas, went straight to the hospital and saw your son. I can't believe he's 19 now.
I like how
yeah.
Danny's pissing contest is his Chihuahua. You present your daughter, he presents his Chihuahua. Let me go get my cat.
My daughter's in the other room, but she won't want to be in video, so.
So some advice for your daughter. Stay away from guys like your dad.
Oh, go ahead. Say again, Bob.
I said some advice for your daughter. Stay away from guys like your dad.
Believe me, I know.
Well, I remember when the original members were all single, kid-free, all living in one house like the monkeys.
Yeah. This was pretty wild. The Aska house, we called it.
Aska house.
That place was it was like Animal House. That was a pretty crazy place.
Had one running around looking for his dog or something. He's going to go get his hamster.
He went to get his daughter. No, he's got his daughters over there. I think he's trying to rile him up, get him up there. Now I put Aiden on here, but he's in college. He's out at UNT and stuff. So He won't be a.
Is he going to be a career videographer, a movie maker?
He's totally into it, and he had joined a club out there. How they have those extracurricular or the off-campus video clubs or whatever that they cinematography club, and he got there and all year they were like, man, this is great, but when are we going to actually do something? When are we going to film something? When are we going to? Because my son and his friends, they film stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's like you, Bob. He was into all that filming and stuff, and next thing you know, they're like, well, we just, we like to take our time and discuss and everything. He goes, well, I mean, that's all fine and dandy, but I want to produce something. I want to make stuff. And they wouldn't do it. And they said, well, if you don't like it, then make your own. So that's what he did. This year he made his own club, and they're off to a whiz-bang start. They're not messing around. They discuss it. They do, they put their script together, and they're off to the races, filming and doing what he wanted to do. So he's quite the go-getter, man. He was DJing a spot there at the UNT radio on a jazz show. He produces. They do their own little films and short movies, and so I'm quite proud of the kid. He's totally into it, and he's not gonna wait for somebody to give him the green light. He's just gonna go for it.
Well, I know he's been doing it for several years. And I tell you what, I've seen some of his stuff. It's pretty good work.
Yeah, he's got a knack for it. He's really into it, and I think that it starts with that. Once you have a love for it, then you're good to go. Kind of like you. I mean,
the radio station at UNT, the radio station call letters are KNTU, but when they changed the name of the college to UNT, they didn't change the name of the radio station.
What's up with that? KUNT would have been great. KUNT, you're listening too.
Yeah.
Man.
Stay tuned for more KUNT with Bob Live here with Dan. I never had any formal education in the videography. I basically bought a camcorder. Do you remember McDuff Electronics?
Oh,
there was one on Pipeline. We're talking back in the 80s. I bought a camcorder, and I would go down to Joe's garage or the basement or wherever, and I would videotape the local bands, and that's how I got to be Video Bob. And I just did it by doing it, and I tell a lot of prospective people that they'll come to me and they go, hey, I want to be into video too. What do you think about going to Art Institute or one of these places? And I guess if you have the money to do it, it's great. But I tell these kids, don't get yourself into debt. Don't go spend $40,000 to go to one of these vocational schools to learn, broadcasting. If you want to learn something, go learn engineering or journalism or take English or something. But learning the ins and outs of filmmaking is just quite frankly a joke, because read the manual, point the camera in the general direction. It's you either got it or you don't got it. And there's some terminology and some really what you want to learn is business, because it's show business. The show part's the easy part. It's the business part that's hard. And the reason I kind of quit doing video about 2007, I kind of quit doing music videos because I'd done over 350 music videos throughout the years. And I started to get rotation of my videos on MTV on the Headbangers Ball. But what started to happen around that time is MTV basically stopped playing music videos, and YouTube hadn't really become a thing yet. YouTube came out about the beginning of 2007, but maybe the late 2006 even. But the technology wasn't there. People weren't going to YouTube to watch music videos and things like that. It hadn't been established. So there was this dry area for a little while where there really wasn't a venue for music video promos. And also bands that, were saturated at the time. There was a lot of clubs, a lot of bands, and there just wasn't a lot of money to go around. So for me to charge, whatever I was charging to do a video, it just kind of dried up. There was like 1 million people out there all trying to offer their video services, and I just moved on. And that's when I, started working for Vinnie Paul at Big Ben Records in 2006, and I kind of only just started doing video for him. But now I've been getting more back into video. All you need nowadays is a decent iPhone, and my YouTube channel, which has 100,000 subscribers and millions of viewers, I shoot everything on this phone, edit it right here on my computer, and I have closets of video equipment behind me that I don't bother using anymore. It's completely pointless and worthless. You can use something as simple as your iPhone and get fantastic stuff.
Yeah. In 1980, I got a video degree. I went to school, got my FCC license, got a video degree. And, a lot of that is transferable over to now today as far as the concept of lighting and all that. But as far as editing, the equipment and all that stuff I learned on in 1980, that's antique.
Yep.
It's old stuff. I mean, we literally had 35 millimeter film. We had to learn how to edit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't do that anymore. But as far as the concept, lighting, story, the storybook telling, that's all still pretty much the same.
That's all the same. I recently took a trip to Manchester, England. I'm sure you guys have been there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we went to the Science Museum. I don't know if you went through there, but the Science Museum is fantastic there. And they have the first computer that ever had RAM there, and a great exhibit for Alan Turing, if you know who he is. But anyway, they had a broadcast museum there, and I'm walking through there, and I was going, crap, I have this stuff. I have all this stuff at my house. This stuff is in this museum, these machines. And I'm like, I have this switcher. I have this tape deck in my garage right now. I have museum quality stuff.
I used to have a Radio Shack switcher.
Yeah.
It would do a switch with a diamond. It also, crappy stuff. But it's all we had at the time. And you always had to have 2 VCRs. You make a copy of something, you got to get those VCRs back to back, hook them up, and make copies. It was awful.
By the end of that last copy is horrible.
Yeah. The fourth generation.
That was the thing that made me attractive to a lot of bands. Like, one of the reasons you guys would hire me is because I was one of the first dudes who did live switching back in those days, because somebody would come out with a single camera and then they would take it home and edit it, and then it would look like crap, and then they would try to overdub it. And what made me special back in the day in that early 90s is I had a digital video switcher that would allow me to switch between multiple cameras live with it. So like that video that we did in Deep Ellum in 95, 96, whatever it was, we had a feed coming in off the soundboard, mixed in with the live audio. Then we also had a camera at the stage, a camera under drums. We had a camera in the back. So we were mixing multiple cameras. And to be able to do that, people take that for granted. Like what this technology that we're using right now, that like the StreamYard, having all these people come in high definition and switching between them and live characters and things was just so unheard of. Only, 20, 25 years ago, the technology has changed so much that we can do what we're doing now. It just blows me away. I mean, this thing, I marvel at this thing. The video you can shoot with this and edit and upload directly in 4K. First high definition camera I ever saw was a $50,000 camera, and it was the size of a suitcase. So it blows me away. I know this is way off the subject, but it does go back to how the longevity of your band and your fan base, and the fact that there's a lot of bands out there that can't go back and find video of themselves in the 90s or whatever, that are still playing today and still friends and still together and still have a fan base that, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but that you guys have always been kind of a localized band without like really blowing up really big, but to continue going, whereas if you go look at that Facebook of mine, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bands on there that they're just dissolved. They're gone. All those people got married. They all, or they're dead, or they just whatever. They had this band in the 90s, and those guys hadn't even seen each other in 20, 30 years, and you guys are still together. So that's an amazing thing that you don't see very often. And I see so many people reconnecting, through this Facebook, because they're like, oh my God, I remember that band. I remember that venue, or, whatever. And they haven't seen each other since, 10, 15 years ago. So
you know what the thing with a lot of those bands, they were sprinters, and we came ready to run the marathon. We were the long distance runners, and it wasn't based on. I think a lot of the musicians. I mean, you'll find, once you hang around a lot of musicians. I mean, not to be derogatory or anything towards anybody, but a lot of musicians they're kind of people that just want to hang out and party and avoid shirk responsibility as long as possible. And that's what motivates them to be in bands in the first place. They like music and they think, oh, it's one big party. But they don't understand that it takes a lot of work and, this and that to do things, to build a name, to keep it out there, to make it. And for us, it was never about that. At least, for me, it was about the genuine love of the creation and the artistic expression of the music and the love of it. So whereas some people were just doing it to try to see how long they could shirk responsibility, I was doing it because I love this music genuinely, and it didn't matter. All the other stuff really didn't matter. I love music. I want to play music, and with every country toured, every frequent flyer mile and every fan in Russia or Korea or release of our album in some country that I would never have dreamed of going or visiting or thinking that people would know who we were. There we are, and it was just that much more impetus to continue, to say, man, whereas some of these other people haven't been seen outside of, the local area or DFW area. We've been seen all over the world, and not in, of course, certainly not in the Bon Jovi or the Pantera fashion, right? Like you're saying, but seen nonetheless and enjoyed and, requested. And there's no way in hell we'd be playing all these festivals that we played and have the fans that we've had over the years if we hadn't made some kind of inroads. And for us, it's like, as long as you can gauge forward progress, or as long as you can see that you've climbed a rung on the ladder and another rung on the ladder, you certainly haven't hit the top of the ladder, but you're climbing the ladder where many others might have never climbed at all, or went up 3 steps and then never.
Yeah. Well, one of the last shows I saw you play was playing with Anvil.
Yeah.
And people laugh when you say Anvil, but I kind of see you on a little bit of a similar path. I mean, they've always been, considered kind of the butt of a joke as the band that never made it. But at the same time, they're just one of those unkillable bands with a great fan base where, they're going to be doing this till they're dead.
Absolutely.
I think another part of that with all the musicians is they get together, they form this band, and they do one album or one set of material, and they don't get a lot of response right away, so they're like, I'm out. So they go form another band. It's like they don't put enough time into it to build that band. It's like, oh well, we're not doing anything, so I'm gonna move to the next project.
You got to build a brand and a legacy and keep it going.
Right. You got to do 2 or 3 albums before you know if that band's going to work or not. It's not like, you just can't jump ship when it's like, well, we're not getting any traction, so it's time to go.
Well, it's also very hard too. I mean, you got a band going, you're working hard, rehearsals, studio, and then on top of it, when you're a band just starting off, you also got to work a full-time job too. So you got a full-time job, a band full-time, then you get married, then you have kids. And these obstacles keep popping up in front of you. And, you got a few bands like Aska, 30 years, that have overcome a lot of those obstacles. It's just too easy to throw in the towel, and you guys never threw in the towel.
You were talking about Quiet Riot a little bit ago. Well, you mentioned Kevin DeBrow earlier, and I remember I interviewed him for my cable show back at Dallas City Limits. Remember Dallas City Limits? This was, probably early 90s, 93, 94, somewhere in there. And, they were coming down after being, they were a stadium band, and now they're playing Dallas City Limits. And I wasn't a very polished interviewer because I was I was a teenager. And I kind of asked, probably maybe was an insulting question. I said, how do you feel about playing a place like this? You're used to playing bigger venues, I mean, what keeps you going? You're still doing it. And he says, well, it's either this or would you like fries with that or $5 on pump 6? He goes, what else am I going to do? This is all I'm good at. And I was like, yeah, well, you're great at it. It was fantastic. But, I always would find it interesting when I would go see a band that, like for instance, the other night, Wednesday, I went and saw Andrew Dice Clay. playing over at Gillies. You know, now there was 300 people. It was sold out, but this is a dude that used to sell out Madison Square Garden. You know, and it kind of felt sad, you know, because I was like, man, this guy used to be the biggest comedian in the world, and now I'm seeing him at Gillies, you know, where they normally have a mechanical bull over here. And you know, but he did great. So, but the landscape has changed, you know, especially with the corona and the COVID. I'm wondering if are we ever gonna see those types of concerts again? Are we ever gonna return back to the good old days of just, you know, 30,000 sweaty people all together doing heavy metal? I mean, the Grass Pops and the Budacons, is that ever going to happen again?
You know,
I think so.
I feel a little nostalgic when I see a video on TV now during this isolation period. It's almost, oh, I remember those days. I remember when we used to gather together 100,000 people in the Cotton Bowl. You know, I kind of miss those days. I would never do it again, but you know, I had great memories doing that. You know, and it's just too bad that, you know, it may be another year, 2 years where I think it gets back like that.
I sure hope so. Because don't get me started on that debate. When I just flew to Vegas the other day to look at the house, and every 60 seconds they had an announcement about staying 6 feet apart, and they put stickers down on the seats where you can't sit next to each other. Then we get on the plane, and I'm literally like this. We're sold out plane, elbow to people, and I'm like, what was all that 6 feet bliss? You know, like,
right?
So,
Yeah, well,
And now you're breathing recycled air at the same time.
Yeah, we're all in an aluminum tube together, and
don't you know the virus understands that it doesn't, you know, it's not going to get you on the plane. It doesn't get you at protests. It doesn't get you at the grocery store. It only gets you in nightclubs and places that, you know, it's so.
I don't want to get George started. I don't want to get him started.
No, don't get me going. Don't get me going on that shit. It's insane, you know.
Well, you know, with this COVID thing going around, you know, and it's the length of it, and you know, they're talking maybe a year or so for things to start getting back to normal. And how many bands do you think are going to give up in the meantime? Is it going to clear the field and, you know, start a whole nother crop?
That's a good point. Yeah.
No telling, but I'll tell you what, it certainly gave Aska some time to make a new record.
Yeah,
that's true.
And it's moving along at great, you know,
quick pace.
You know? Yeah, of course, Keith and I have been burning the candles at both ends. You know, we're all day and all night. We're in there recording, trying this, doing that, doing the other. You know, but I don't. You know, we're certainly not going anywhere. You know, we're not going to cancel our band. I don't know about others. But
if anything, the COVID time down is giving us time to put this album together for sure.
For sure, yeah.
It's like the positive note at least for me, and I'm sure George too. The whole of all this.
I would expect to see a lot of new releases coming out soon.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
Well, we got got a comment from the chat here. It says from your boy Roy Boy. Drugs too. I've seen way too many bands that could have been pretty popular fall apart because of hard drug use, especially opiates. That's when I get tested to Aska, totally drug free and mostly alcohol free too, and that could, you know, be a contribute, you know, to your longevity.
Mostly.
Well, you know, I've seen him have a few drinks, but you know, but not not like
we've always been a clean band. I've never done a drug in my life. I've never smoked dope, marijuana. It's not my thing. You know, it was never my thing. Never about that. And I do find that a lot of the people that engaged in all of that stuff, they couldn't, you know, for one reason or the other. They just couldn't keep it together. Now there are others that, yeah, no problem. There are very real and dire consequences to people that let that, you know, drugs overtake their life. Look at, you know, one of my heroes, Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy, you know, done in by his years of heroin abuse. You can look at many others, you know, that succumb to. Bon Scott, you know, right on the cusp of making it huge with AC/DC, you know, drowns in his own vomit. It's a
Keith
shame. Yeah, Keith. There's so many, and John Bonham.
This list is long. I mean,
Yeah.
The list is long and it's sad, but it's just.
And you look at some of the bands that have been around for years that used to participate in drug activity and then finally clean themselves up and go, oh my God, it's so much better. Look how much better we can do without the drugs. So hopefully that's a lesson to a lot of bands out there, that it's not going to help. They think it helps with creativity, that helps expand their mind or whatever. But I don't know, in the long run, it's not, I wouldn't take that route. I
don't know. Keith Richards wrote some pretty badass shit while he was high.
Yeah.
Maybe that's our problem, man. We need, Keith, we need to start doing some cocaine and some heavy drugs so we can get to the next level,
Well, I heard they found
some psychedelics.
Well, I heard they found Keith Richards the other day in a hotel, still alive.
Yeah, right.
It's a bad joke, but he's really going to outlive us all. Like I think about all the people that I know that have died, and I don't think Vinny would have ever believed that Keith Richards was going to outlive him. Or Darrell would have never thought, but and as you get older, and I'm the probably youngest dude here, but as you start to get older and you watch people go away, and you do start to think about your own health and mortality and all those kind of things. And it is crazy to see how many people we lost so young, because when we were younger, we would look at people in maybe their 40s and 50s and go, wow, they're old.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get there, you realize that's not old.
Oh.
And then you see Rob Halford up there singing at 69, and you see the guys in Kiss all in their 70s up there rocking and rolling, flying, spitting blood and everything. And then I look at people like my mom, who's 76, and she can barely walk to the bathroom. And I'm like, Gene Simmons is only a couple of years younger than you, and he's spitting fire, and blood, and playing bass and singing for 2 hours. I mean, and how you live your life really is going to add up at the end, those drugs and the alcohol and, all that kind of stuff. I mean, she smoked cigarettes for 50 years. And what did you think was going to happen? So when you see these bands that did have clean living like Kiss, Paul and Gene have always been very staunch about not drinking, not doing drugs, not smoking, staying in shape. I mean, have you seen Paul Stanley? This guy is in shape.
Yeah, he looks good.
He's
great.
He's eating a baby every morning. You know what I mean? It's like, what is he doing?
Speaking of Kiss, aren't they supposed to be in town next week?
Yeah, you know what? They were supposed to. I had tickets.
Did it get canceled?
It's been postponed for a year.
Oh, a year.
October 20. I had tickets for this coming show this October, and now they boosted it for October 2021 and asked everybody, if they wanted a refund or just or keep tickets for next year. I was like, give me my money
next
back,
Saturday
dude.
was supposed to be Judas Priest's 50th anniversary heavy metal years at the Pavilion, and I bought tickets to that, and I don't think I've gotten a refund from it, and I don't think they're showing up.
We had to ask for it though. I had to ask for the refund for Kiss,
Now, plug for me. I'm playing South Fork Ranch next Friday with my band.
Oh, wow.
So come
South Fork.
At South Fork Ranch, where they did the TV show Dallas. They're having bands, so check them out. Maybe they'll have you out. But I'm playing.
They got a big giant stage there.
Yeah, I'll be on it, and I'll be opening with The Boys Are Back in Town. Since we were talking about Thin Lizzy, that's my opener with our '80s rock band, and then I'm opening for the Texas Bluesmen, which is a tribute to the Blues Brothers because I love those guys. So it's just a fun little gig that I'm doing, and I haven't been on a stage forever. I think last big gig I played maybe was at House of Blues, and I've been dying to get up, and I would love to get the Judas Priest band going, but I cannot find two guitar players that can play Glenn and KK stuff. So if your other dude that quit on you wants a gig, I'll hire him.
You're welcome to give him a call. His name is Scott. I forget his last name. Scott.
I was trying to get Jimmy Adcock to fill in for me, and I had Paulie, who does the Van Halen show, and it's just finding that's an entire. I was interested in your tribute because I'd never got to see it. It's an incredibly hard catalog to try to learn because most of those songs aren't songs that are popular or in the roster of a tribute, of a cover band. People know maybe Breaking the Law and
Living After
Midnight
Midnight.
is something like that. But you start getting into some of those ballads. I want to do Out in the Cold and Take These Chains, and I actually, everybody makes fun of the Turbo Lover album, but I love the Turbo Lover album. I love that MIDI guitar that they're playing, that the keyboard guitar, and I love that whole sound. But make fun of me if you want, but
I like it. I like it as well. I never had a problem.
I had some great songs on there. There was some songs I really didn't like, but yeah, there was some great songs on that.
People make fun of the ones that I love. I love Private Property, and
not that one.
I love that one. I love
the two I didn't like was Private Property and Parental Guidance. So
those are my two favorite. That's the one.
Those are the ones I didn't like.
My favorite on that record was Reckless.
Which one?
Yeah, Reckless. That was Reckless. It was the last song on side one, I believe.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one.
That song kicked ass. I just love it.
Coolest thing I ever did in my life is doing the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp with Judas Priest, and I got to perform with them on stage.
Oh, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I've seen that video. Yeah,
to do something like that, you should do it. The Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp is one of the greatest things you can do, either as a musician or as a fan, because I got to spend a week with them, and I got to get voice lessons from Sebastian Bach, Jeff Scott Soto, Josh Tata Buck Cherry. I hung out with Rudy Sarzo and Vinny Appice and Nita Strauss, and my personal camp counselor was Craig Goldie, who was Dio's guitar player, if you know him. It was just an amazing experience, and then to be able to stand on the infamous stage of the Whiskey A Go Go with Judas Priest and play with them, and the place was packed, busted nuts, and there's nothing better than that. I mean, you guys have experienced that in for real with your own band, but that's as close to I got to rock stardom in my life. So that was.
We got a question. We got a question in the chat room. It says, okay. Hey Dan, ask him who was the longest tenured crew member.
That's easy. That would be Alan Farrell.
Yeah,
who's been with us since
before me,
since day one. Yeah, since before Keith ever joined even. Alan and I met. We used to work up at the Fort Worth Star Telegram, and he immediately, he came on board, started roadieing, and then became head of security and everything. He's been there since day one practically, and continues to be to this day.
Who is that AOK roadside assistance?
I believe that's Alan.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. Alan Taz Farrell, he's been the longest for sure. He's been there since day one. Gotta love him, God bless him. And as far as Judas Priest goes, there for a while, we were pretty tight with Scott Travis, and the drummer for Priest, and through him, Keith and I, we went to a Dawkins show with Scott. We went to strip bars with Scott. We went to Wendy's with Scott. We hung out at their hotel up at the Four Seasons, at Scott's room. Scott would, every time Priest would come in town, he'd hook us up. He'd get us passes. One year we got not just meet and greet or backstage, but we got the full working crew passes. So as Priest was kicking off the show, here was Keith and I were on stage, behind the backdrop, standing next to the Harley and watching Rob climb up the rickety ladder up to the hole where he appears on Electric Eye, and we're standing there with all the guitars and the wardrobe and stuff, and we're like, wow, man, did you ever think that when we started playing rock and roll and doing stuff that we'd be hanging out, on stage, backstage with Judas Priest as their concert is going, and here we are, hanging backstage at the invite of the band, and then hanging back, not hanging in the meet and greet, but hanging in the actual green room with the guys.
Oh yeah.
Playing in his son.
I remember
drinking their beer.
Yeah, I remember being backstage with you guys for Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Show. Man, it was food everywhere, eating their food.
Yeah, drinking their beer, eating their food. It was
KK
cool.
down, and he looked at my shirt and he goes, "I like your shirt." It was a Harley shirt. He turned around, looked again about 10 minutes later. I should have given him a shirt. It's I'll swap. No, we never did, but I said that would have been great. But he loved my Harley shirt.
Yeah.
Vinny told a
You know,
funny
it was
story
funny.
about Glenn
Well,
Tipton coming over to the clubhouse. He said Glenn came over to the clubhouse and he just lays out a line of Coke right on the glass table, and the security's like, Vinny, you can't let this guy do that, And Vinny goes over to Glenn and he's like, hey man, you can't do that. And he's like, well, it's the problem, man. It's just a little cocaine.
Glenn Tipton. Hey, KK outed him in the book, man. But Dan, that one time when you were with us when we were backstage in the green room with Priest, I remember Glenn walked by and something dropped on the ground. It was like a pack of pills or something. And I remember I leaned down and I go, "Hey man, dude, somebody dropped the Viagra." Every guy in the band, all the priests,
I'll tell you a funny
back there.
story about that Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. I was doing a warm-up song with Rob. We did Electric Eye, and I was dressed up. I wanted to have my duds on, and Rob was over there with his phone, and he does that little bop, and he was filming me with his phone. And afterwards, I said, I saw you recording me. Are you going to put me on your Twitter? And he goes, "No, mate. I was saving it for later."
Oh.
Yes. I'm going into Rob's Spank Bank.
There you go.
Well, I think the night we were back there with Judas Priest, that was the night Glenn Tipton wanted to go party someplace. And he
went to the Sky Bar or whatever?
Yeah. He was going to drive the tour bus, and we were about to go. Of course, my ride showed up, and he was drunk off his ass.
Oh, that was here in Dallas. They went up to the W.
It may have been.
Yeah, maybe.
They were discussing where to go.
We went to either the Sky Bar or the W, or then we went to.
They were with Heaven and Hell.
Yes.
Yeah, or the Foundation. There was a couple of them, right?
Yeah.
I think that was the show they did with Heaven and Hell, the Dio, Tony Iommi, right? It was at Starplex. Is that the same show?
Yeah.
It was with it wasn't Heaven and Hell though. It was Ozzy. It was Ozfest.
No, that was the year before. That was
the year before because it was. I have the pass from it because it was a Heaven and Hell show. Because after the show, I went back and I hung out with Dio and Tony Iommi, and I asked this guy's walking by. I go, "Hey, could you take a picture for me?" And it was Geezer Butler.
I
handed my phone.
It was for us. It was. I mean, every Priest show, every time they came to town, we got the hookup. And then the last time Glenn got upset. Not Glenn. I'm sorry, Scott, over some stuff, and then and that was it.
You pissed him off. Oh, what happened?
Well, yeah, I don't think he was. He just wanted. I don't think it's an appropriate story to tell here, but he was one of his roadies. He didn't get something. Yeah, I'll tell you that. There was he wanted something and he didn't get it, or he wasn't to satisfaction, and he was like, "God damn it!" Blah, 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 blah. And that was pretty much it. I mean, they haven't been back since, so we can't really test the theory. But before we used to communicate all the time, and now we don't ever hear from Scott anymore. So we figured he was pretty upset that night.
That's why it was with me and the Stone Temple Pilots. When the Stone Temple Pilots came to Dallas in '92 for the first time, played at Trees. Well, I had heard their album about a week after it came out, about a week before they came to Dallas. And I heard it on the radio. So I went down, bought the CD, listened to it, memorized it. I loved the album. And so I went to the show at Trees. Afterwards, I went upstairs where the backstage is, knocked on the door, and Eric Kretz, the drummer, opened up the door. I said, "Hey, can you sign the CD?"
DeLeo? Isn't it?
Well, it was Eric Kretz was the drummer. He's the one that answered the door. And so I told him, I said, "No." He goes, "Did you get one of the free ones we threw out during the show?" I said, "No, I bought this one." He goes, "You bought that?" And I go, "Yeah, come on in." So I got to go backstage with my part of those guys till about 4 a.m. Got good friends with Dean DeLeo. and we communicated. This is back before internet, so we literally had to write handwritten letters to each other. They were over in Europe, and he would send me all sorts of swag back from Europe. And
Wow.
then suddenly they got big. When they got big, it's like a curtain came down. I never heard from him again. And I wrote him a letter, and it came back and said, "Address the unknown." Never heard from the guy again, ever again. And they actually came to town a couple of times after I met them, and I'd have backstage passes, and tickets waiting for me. But suddenly, once they became real famous, that curtain came down. I never heard from them again. But
Wow.
Well, Aska never forgot us. So
no.
there's
'Cause
always
we never blew up that big either, so we stay, but we're nonetheless we're the people that have helped us out and been cool to us. We'll always be cool to them as well. I mean,
what's the biggest show you think you ever played? What was the biggest crowd you ever got to play for? Where was that and when was that?
Aska
For me, it was Keep It True.
Germany, yeah, in Germany. Yeah, probably, for Aska, it'd be probably Germany. Keep It True. So those guys.
What was that show? Tell me about it. Who was you playing with, and what was the crowd?
Oh
man, there was
tons
of bands.
Yeah, there was several thousand. I mean, it was bigger than Rocklahoma. I mean,
okay.
What
year was that?
2009.
Yeah.
I think.
2009, 2010, 10 years ago.
2009. It was 9.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because that's when we played all those festivals that same year. Did a ton of them.
Yeah, we had the big festival tour thing where it was all, and we even put out a shirt. It was all the festival dates on the back for all these festivals that we'd done. It was the festival tour shirt,
Well, what I'm hoping is that when everything comes back, when all this is over, and I'm hoping that we don't have what they keep saying, the new normal, where even after the government or the judges or the governors lift all these mandates, that we're not stuck with company policy at concert venues or airplanes or whatever, where there's social distancing or masks or whatever for the foreseeable future, in the same way that 9/11 affected security. Forever now, you have to take off your shoes. You have to go through a metal detector. I mean, I remember going to concerts. You didn't go through a metal detector. You didn't go through anything. You just walked in. And what's funny about that is I like to go to gun shows. And when you go to the gun show, there's no security because you're walking in with a duffel bag full of guns and knives. And it's like, they're not going to check you for guns and knives. Everybody's got a gun and a knife, But it's funny that you go see Tom Jones. They're going to pat you down and wand you before you go in. Make sure you don't have a weapon. And so it's just funny, the hypocrisy there. And, they're talking about doing concerts where you're going to sit in your car and watch the band from your car or some dumb thing like that.
Oh, lava cantina.
Or those risers, where they're all 6 feet apart and whatever.
Or you're in a pod. I mean, even the show that we're doing this next Friday, it's limited seating. And they said, well, if you guys sell out the show and it's bigger than the venue, we'll have to move it outside because everybody has to be so far apart. And I go, we're all in the same room, And so what I noticed people doing at the airport, for instance, was you had to wear a mask. But if you're eating or drinking, you don't have to wear a mask. So the trick is just get yourself a soda and a bag of chips, take your mask off, and you just sit there with your snack, and you don't have to wear the mask because Corona has no effect if you got Cheetos. So, that's what everybody did. And on the plane, everybody took off their mask and they had a little bag of peanuts. And the stewardess would walk by and you'd just be like, I'm eating and drinking.
The colonel out in the chat room says, man, I can remember flying on Braniff Airlines back in the 80s with no ID and an ounce of pot under my nuts.
That's true. I mean, it's like, you used to be able to just walk up to the counter, buy a ticket for cash, get on the plane. You used to be able to legally, there was no 1.4 ounce fluid law. You could go on with a gallon of milk and a bag of Oreos if you wanted to. It didn't matter. And so what I'm worried about is what kind of policy we're going to be facing in the future, especially with live music, because live music is such a big part of our lives, both playing it and watching it. And, I think maybe for you guys it may not change too much because you're doing some of the smaller venues, but I'm wondering what's going to happen with some of the bigger concerts that are out there. You know, you think about going to like American Airlines or one of the larger venues that hold between 5 and 30,000 people. How are things going to change? This is really going to affect ticket prices because they say, well, you can only have half as many people. We have to space you apart. They have to make up that ticket somewhere, and they're going to be taking it out of the artist's pay, and they're going to be also hiking the prices for the viewing audience. And so I'm interested to see what's going to happen, both as an artist myself and as a consumer of live music, because I spend $10,000-$20,000 a year, I'd say, in that kind of entertainment, going to concerts. And generally, I'm one of those guys that will pay the extra money for the VIP experience or the better seats or the ability to go backstage, this kind of thing. I mean, I must have spent $10,000 on Kiss last year doing VIPs, going to their shows. I'm not sure how many Kiss shows I did last year, you know, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Tulsa, so it's been a hard year. It's been a hard year for those of us who live and breathe live music, and going and seeing bands, and also the inability to perform. A lot of how's it been on you guys, like from a depression point of view? It looks like George is doing fine. He went to go microwave a bowl of SpaghettiOs. He'll be back in a minute, but. I know a lot of people, like a close friend of mine who's a professional DJ, and he just had a really hard bout of depression because
he's not working.
Yeah, well, not only the money, he had to take a straight job, but he said it's not about the money. He goes, you get used to the lifestyle of just being out and doing what you do, and then you can't do it, So
right.
I don't know if it's affected you guys at all, but.
Man, it's funny you're talking about the plane flights, and when we were touring, hell, half the time we'd take a red eye back to the States, or sometimes it wasn't even a red eye; it would just be middle of the day, and we'd find a row to ourselves and lay down in that row and sleep the whole way from Europe or wherever we were to the States. And man, you can't do that now because those planes are full.
They're full, and by the way, a seat that you can lay down in is $10,000.
Yeah, well, these were just the row. You just lay down in a row. It wouldn't be like, but the planes were so empty, you could go find a row, and
Yeah, it's not like that now. When I flew to Manchester recently, I mean, it was whatever it was, $1,500 for a seat. But if you wanted to go business class, where you could lay down in the reclining seat, that was almost $6,000. And if you wanted a first class, they gave you an actual bed. That was $10,000. So the planes are chock full now. They don't send the plane out unless it's full. I mean, people are stacked on top of each other, and so this whole COVID be damned.
They've got so limited people flying. They've got people doing double duty everywhere throughout the airport and all that kind of stuff. It's just the baggage handlers are sometimes doing the check-ins. You never know.
Where did George go? I'm gonna have to text him, tell him to get back to his chair.
All right.
I think as this COVID thing goes on, that people are innovative. People are going to try to reinvent. I think a lot of the ways we were accustomed to for years and years is going to change. I don't think we'll ever go back to the way the old days were.
Yeah, that's what I'm about.
I'm thinking they're going to reinvent how we do things, and because if they don't, people aren't going to show up. There's going to be a lot of people that still going to be scared to go out in public, even after it's over. So I think, well, like Justin out here said, maybe they'll start doing pay-per-view shows. Just watch it at home.
Yeah, but I don't.
But
it's not the same.
It's not the same, but
I watch all these bands streaming their stuff, and it just sounds. And half time it sounds bad, and you're just like, I don't want. You listen about 5 minutes, 2 minutes of it. Yeah,
it's like watching a band play for no audience. There's no energy. You can see just it's
practice
on their face.
Yeah, it's like them practice.
It's like the NFL.
That's the lamest thing in the world, man. To watch, those video casts. That to me is so stupid. It's like, oh, we're gonna play for nobody and it's streaming online. People's attention span these days is so short. Nobody's gonna watch that for for more than 10, 15
One
minutes.
song. Yeah.
And you may have noticed Facebook recently put out a thing saying they're not going to allow bands to continue doing that. As a matter of
Right.
fact.
We said before you came on that we had actually touched on that subject. It's just like, we're like, really? Wow.
Where you going? Jack in the Box? Give me 2 tacos.
Yeah, I almost prefer when a band does a cover in the studio and then they mimic it, in our like the 4 square that we got going here, Like who did one recently? Sammy Hagar did one recently. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Give me 2 tacos and a jumbo jack. Come on.
Yeah, I saw a Rivethead local band. Rivethead did that not too long ago, where they were all in their different houses and they did the 4 square thing, and it sounded great, but
yeah.
It's not the same experience. Watching a video,
it's not.
Not the same as being there.
But that's like watching a video. That's all that is,
You want to go out and socialize with your friends. There's a lot of times I went to concerts, and half the time I didn't even watch most of the concert. I was too busy socializing with my friends. That's what it's about, getting together.
Yeah,
right.
I definitely miss that a lot. I mean, it's and we're finally starting just a little bit to get back, maybe not to normal, but at least get to a point where you can go to certain bars and restaurants that are kind of open, and to be able to do that. I mean, when I was just in Vegas, like it was pretty much open for the most part, but there's no shows. Right now, it's a lot of the slum because they had a lot of lower cost incentives, so it wasn't the premium customers, let's just say. So I stayed over at the Solid Gold Trump Hotel just to avoid the strip. But what are you doing? Where are you going?
I'm driving my daughter.
He's got a paper route he's got to get to. He's got extra money to make.
I got my kiddo over here, and she's got somewhere she's got to be tomorrow. So.
Oh, he's pulling Eric Singer. I saw Eric Singer do this a couple weeks ago on Stefan's show.
I've got Eric Singer's number now. We've kind of chatted back and forth. It's really cool to be friends with him, and because he's into cars and things, and he also lives in southern Las Vegas in Henderson County, and I'm hoping I get to be buddies with him when I move out there. Me and Rachel talked about the fact that we're going to give up some friends and things going out there, but like I said, people visit Vegas all the time. I'm sure I'll see you guys. I mean, hell, I don't see most of you in person, but once a year anyway. So, we'll see each other online, and whenever you come to town, the door will always be open for anybody who wants to come hang out.
So what you're saying was we got a place to stay when we come to Vegas on a tour?
Seriously, definitely. This place has got extra rooms, and I'll be building a few extra stabbing cabins in there, just like Vinny did at his place. So.
Dude, I saw your walkthrough on the outside. That looks pretty impressive.
Yeah,
that'd be cool if you get it.
The inside is even better, and it's a lot of money. But if I sell this house, I sell my building, and I sell my mom's house, I can get it, and it's going to be about $1 million project, but it's going to be epic. And I have a plan when I get there. I'm not just going to be there. We're going to be renting out our cars and building our cars. So the reason I'm getting this particular property is because it's got a bunch of outbuildings and shops and things.
Right.
So I'll be running the car business right there at the same time. And anyway, it's
so.
Totally off the subject.
But are all your guys going with you too? Because I mean, you got some guys that been working for you a while.
Yeah, what happened to your guy Oscar, Bob? Remember what's the guy? Didn't you have Oscar?
Omar.
What happened to Omar? Is he still with you?
He's still with me. He's coming. Lucky for me, all these guys live in trailers, and so we're gonna have
hook them up and drive it.
At trailer park.
They just fire up. They just turn the key, and then they can drive up there and follow you up in their homes.
That's exactly they're gonna be plugged in the backyard. It's gonna be great. The other great thing about Vegas, like there's no rules, man. You can just do whatever you want, man. It's like it's the old West, and
Wild West.
It is. What is this? There's a thing called Melody VR Virtual Reality Live Concerts.
I've never heard of that.
Me either. To me,
well, you gotta, what, Bob? Before you go, you gotta have a farewell. You gotta have a farewell
for
show.
Sure. We're definitely gonna be having a Halloween party.
entertainment, and we'll blow it up nice and good.
We just might do that. I'll be having a Halloween party. I haven't picked the date, but I'll be playing. You'll be playing. It may be a farewell party. We don't know, but definitely Halloween party. So the Halloween parties are always really epic. And you and I both know that November 5th, this all is going to be over with. If everything goes right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right after the election. So that's the hope.
After the election, we might be in a full civil war after the election.
Well, I just bought a Tommy gun the other day at the gun show, so I'm fine. I got a 50-round magazine ready. So.
Oh, I got all my weaponry too, man. It's not,
It is.
That's what I got to take.
Yep.
It's insane, man.
Get back. Get back.
The thing is, every one of us on this video, man, we haven't come out and said it because we're not discussing politics, but everyone in this video has the same politics. We all agree.
Our politics are that we love America. We love American flag. We support our police. We support our military. And we love this country, and we love the people of this country, and we want everybody to get along, and we do good business. We all want to make money, and we want to see everybody prosper. If that makes me a bad guy, I'm sorry. That's, I don't know what to tell you. So
yep, I'm right there with you, man. I don't know when it make people bad guy to love their country,
I mean, I know you guys do a lot of USO tours. Our veterans, our military, our police, our fire, our AMTs, our teachers. This is who I care about. I don't care about nothing about black and white. I don't care about nothing about any of that stuff. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're not standing there if you're not standing with your hand over your heart facing that flag, I don't need to talk to you. So
good, as it should be.
Hey,
I just don't understand.
We'll stop there.
Having grown up in a foreign country, and seeing, what it's like in the third world.
Yeah.
And then contrasting that with living in the country of milk and honey, the land of milk and honey here, of capitalism, of everybody's got, even the poorest person has got a, paved, flooring under them and glass windows and everything their heart desires, food. And, even the poorest among us have all these things that somebody poor in the third world they don't have a bathroom to go in. They don't have they've got dirt floors under them, and they've got open windows with mosquito netting and no temperature control and stuff like that. It's like, man, how anybody could, piss and whine and moan is beyond me in this country, beyond me.
Those people.
It's because they haven't been out of this country.
They haven't been to
that's exactly my point. They've been nowhere. They've seen nothing, and so they think they've got it bad here. And in fact, they've got it better here than they could have it anywhere else in the world. Period. That's why I'm a huge supporter of the USA, a huge blower of the horns for the US. Because I've seen what it's like firsthand. I've grown up in what it's like, and what it is elsewhere. Where most of these people, they would melt. They would melt if they grew up and see some of the stuff I've seen. I mean, I grew up seeing true poverty, where you'd go to a dine-in or a takeout place called the Drive-In, and we'd eat our food and then throw away the leftover chicken bones and stuff, and then watch 12 to 15 little kids go to that trash can and pull out our leftovers, our little chicken bones and the gristle that was left on the chicken, and eat that, and that was their dinner. I mean, that is true. I mean, these people are complaining about this country. Man, they've seen nothing. They've seen nothing.
I did live on an Indian reservation when I was a kid, and it was pretty poor. I mean, they didn't have air conditioning and things like that. It wasn't dirt floor poor, but Indians on some of these reservations live really, really poor. And, listen, I had my share of government cheese, and, we didn't have a color TV. We didn't have a lot of things. I didn't have anything until I got away from that situation and got my own job. That's why I was a high school dropout and got a job at Jack in the Box, because they gave me a free meal every day. And just on my own, I figured it out. You know what I mean?
Hey,
But,
I'm a former Jack in the Box employee.
there you go. So I wasn't on that level of poverty, but I definitely learned to appreciate, I mean, here I am now, driving a nice car, living in a nice house, and I don't take it for granted, because I still to this day, I remember what it was like just having just nothing at all, and appreciated everything I could get, and it's not a pissing contest to see who was poorer, but I think that's one of the reasons I feel the way I do, because it really is a land of opportunity, and I get so angry when I see people just pissing that opportunity away with all their anger, and I'm just like, wow, man, there's so much to offer at this place, and
I agree. Instead of taking all that this country has to offer, pissing that away and playing victim, and even worse when you see these lily white kids, I'm a, this and that. And I mean, it's like, man, you were handed the keys to the kingdom and you want to play the victim? You got to be kidding.
All right, yeah. We're already going down that road, George. We better stop it. And I'm the one making it worse. I'm the one making it worse. I take full responsibility.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap this up. We've been on here for 3 hours and 17 minutes. So
I know, man. I gotta piss.
3 hours.
That's why I've left a few times. Go bathroom.
I'm a true professional. I don't leave the mic.
Well, I want to thank everybody that came to the show tonight. George, Keith, Danny, Video Bob, Stefan from Coffee
Hey, we
Talk.
lost Danny somewhere along the way. I think it was bedtime.
He was sleeping back there for a while.
Oh yeah, he fell asleep back there. Yeah, there.
Oh, did he really?
He had to go cuddle with that chihuahua and go to bed.
I'd like to thank everybody in the chat room. And I've seen people on here. I see Manly. I see my son, a bunch of other people. I'd like to thank everybody in the chat room that showed up and helped support the show. And,
I want to thank this young lady right here. Life is so much more wonderful with kids, man.
It is.
They really are. They're before you had them, you couldn't imagine life without them. Once you got them, it's like, oh my God, they're the best. They're my reason for moving on, keeping on, doing it. They truly are a joy, an indescribable joy that you can't imagine until you have them.
I really,
you don't get it till you get it.
I really do regret having kids. It's made me so. I'm so sad I didn't have any kids. I double income, no kids, and I just.
Nah, you're not sad. You know what? If you don't have them, you're not missing. You don't know what you're missing. Believe me, Bob, it's like, man, I don't care. If I have them, I'll have them when I have them. But I never understood all those people. You never know. It'll change your life. It's different. And it truly is. It's just, you can't really even explain it to people, because I was right there in that same boat. It's like, yeah, whatever, kids, it's just a drain on your resources and your private and personal time. But I know that, life is finite, right? We all come to the end of our lives. And this is what goes on. This is our imprint on the earth. Besides our, music catalog or whatever it was that we dedicated our lives to, we leave that behind us. But this is the most physical embodiment, of us having been here. And we leave this bit of our DNA in our stead to go on and, you want the front or the back, man? That just, it outlives us, and it's a direct part of us that outlives us. So, and nobody
I don't have
could.
that. That's true.
Yeah. You couldn't, it's never too late. For a guy, you could
that's
be.
racial. The only DNA I'm leaving behind is probably on the sheets of the Trump Hotel. I got nothing but my cat and some videos. You can find me on the internet, but other than that, this is it. This is the end of the Mosley gene right here.
Well, you never say never, brother, because you'll be viable till you're 80, 90 years old. You'll still be able to procreate. Women not so much. They've got a cutoff limit. But
Who
not
dropped their
us.
Viagra?
Right. Well, but guys have we've got that. There's no clock for us. Whereas like with the women have that biological clock.
Oh yeah,
So
that's true.
never say never, Bob. You might move out to Vegas and a couple of like Rachel might be like, yeah, okay, go ahead. Yeah,
If it
might give you
happens, it's gonna be like whoops.
well, some baby Bobs running around.
I thought you
Baby
used to
Bobs.
be a man.
All right, guys, I'm going to shut it down. And I
Yeah, I'm gonna
appreciate
get outta
everybody. Show
All right,
everybody.
Dan,
for
thank you very
hijacking your
much.
show, Dan.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Good night.
We'll see you later.
Well, you guys later.
Hey, also, we just want to say, man, thanks for having us on your inaugural show. Dan, we love you. We always have, always will. We've always thought of you as family and one of us, one of the guys. And no matter how frequently or infrequently we see you, you are always a brother to us. And, it's an honor and a true pleasure to be on your first show. And hopefully, once you've got yourself more established, we'll be happy to come back and do it again.
Sounds
also
great,
enjoy
man.
to see you, Bob. And oh man, we went right past it. And also, you know what? I've in a lot of musical projects and bands from around the world and everything, but it comes back to it. Almost everything I've been involved with, man. I really want to point out that Keith has been there. A part of it. I mean, for other bands that I've recorded, whatever, he's always at the helm. He usually engineers my singing, my vocals. I mean, I've done very few without him, but almost all of them, he's been there. So I definitely want to tip my hat to Keith. He's been, my creative partner since '90. Since he joined the band. He was, the other two guys, one was my brother and the other was my friend from elementary school. But the guy that's still here, still doing it with me, is Keith Knight from Detroit, Michigan, who we met through an ad in the paper. So, my hat's off to you, Keith. You're a true rocker. You're a true trooper. You've got a lot of vision. You've got a lot of talent and know-how. And for me, it's an honor to play with you all these years. And I hope to do it till we're old and gray, man.
And I'm one of the few people that'll actually tell you, hey, that take sucked. Let's do it again.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for having me on, Dan. I'm sorry I was hijacking your show.
No, I needed help. I need a co-host. I need a co-host.
It was, and don't tell me I was the only one sitting here in my underwear.
Underwear? Who's wearing underwear?
Yeah. Am I the only one? Am I the only one with no pants? That's the best part.
George, you're cutting in and out.
Yeah.
All right, Dan.
We'll
Thank
see
you.
guys later.
You missed
Take care.
it. I'll catch you guys
Night.
later.